Let's make sweet, sweet profit together. Let's make sweet, sweet profit together. Let's make sweet, sweet profit together.
Sweet, sweet profit together. Boys and girls, thank you very much for the subs this morning. Welcome in. Good morning, good morning. Hex with the 2 gifties. Thank you, appreciate it. Bazzy B with the prime. Good stuff, boys and girls. Welcome in. Hope you're well. Hope you had a good weekend. It doesn't really feel like a weekend because I've done the same thing every day for the last ever. But it's fun. We're having a lot of fun. I got back into the YouTube thing this morning. I need to remember I'm a professional content creator and not just sit here and live stream all the day. But it's fun. Right, we're getting some prospecting done first thing this morning. Since I have to get some data. I can't do good prospecting without data. I need to know what prospects into what. And I need to know what's worth selling and when and, you know, all the good stuff. Maths, baby, yeah. Auction house was working this morning. It felt a bit weird. They've done summing. They've definitely done summing behind the scenes. I'm not entirely sure what that summing is, but they have done something. Like I said, whatever they've done, it's helped. But it's not perfect yet. It's not perfect yet, but we can keep our fingers crossed it doesn't crash and burn. But I got to burn through this Akirite nice and quickly this morning. I need to get some data points. Let's turn the tunes down just a touch. This week could be a fun week though. We're going to get our first reset this week. Obviously, Season 1 doesn't start this week. It's not for another week yet, but it'll be a new flood, or another flood of knowledge points. It'll be another flood of artisans' acuity for people. There should be a bunch of fun stuff going on this week. Hopefully, if the auction house can stay semi-not dead, we might start to be able to do some contemplation on material prices and markets and that sort of fun stuff. This is the best thing about a new expansion for me. We get to do some thinkings. Do I know if recrafting equipment can give you skill? Now, in theory, it always could, but it was never very reliable. And secondly, I would also point out that recrafting full stop has been like super buggy and broken. A huge amount of people have not been able to recraft stuff full stop, which is a touch concerning. I'm hoping they'll fix that and address it, but I wouldn't rely on it for skill points though. It was considered a cheese way of gaining skill points in Dragonflight, but they did kind of tone it down a lot. You'd have to recraft something like 5 to 10 times to get like 1 skill point. It was rarely worth it with the material costs, honestly. Oh, look, somebody who wants to be banned. That's incredible, that is. It's incredible just how quickly we need to ban people first thing in the morning. See you later, loser. They've done summon indeed. It took me 2 minutes to post my auctions instead of 45 from yesterday. Yeah, well, I've basically got to the point that I just wasn't using the auction house. It was more frustrating that the auction house was up but broken than when it's just down. When the auction house is dead, when they turn it off, you know where you stand. You're like, okay, well, the auction house doesn't work now. Let's go do something else. But the fact that it was kind of crawling along, you still felt as if you had to fight with it. It was a touch frustrating. So I've got a free slot for a profession. I have alchemy, engineering, herbalism, mining, scribbling. Do you have any suggestions for low effort, some kind of a reward for the last spot? Well, until you've got one of everything, I'd do one of everything. One of everything will mean that you can dive into whatever looks good, feels fun, makes gold whenever that opportunity arises. This is my approach, at least, anyway. You don't have to go hardcore on them, but just have one of each character kind of doing something. One of each profession doing something. I rarely suggest doubling up on professions until you at least have one of everything. Unless you have really, really good reason to. So, we'll see. Hopefully they'll fix that the guild banks were not totally wiped out. Yeah, the guild bank issue is odd. I really do hope they fix that. There are still some people that are missing, like, entire tabs of guild bank stuff, which is not fun. I definitely hope they address that double time. What knowledge path for alchemy and for tailoring would I prefer? Well, I can only tell you what I've done. My alchemist has gone flasks, which means it's been very expensive so far, and I've not made a penny yet because people aren't really buying flasks. So it's not really strictly great for gold making yet, but I suspect by the time the season launches and everybody starts stocking up ready to kill some big bosses, then flasks will go boom. Tailoring, I've gone the material production route. I've gone unraveling, I've gone into bolts, I've gone into crafting the exquisite weaver cloth bolts, is that what they're called? Those have done me okay so far, but I have pushed my tailor quite aggressively. I have a lot of knowledge points. I've probably got, I don't know, probably 120 knowledge points, something like that on my tailor, plus I've got my blue tools, so my position with tailoring is probably not default. This is the really nice thing about professions. You kind of can't go wrong. You genuinely can't go wrong right now. Whatever profession you pick, whatever spec you choose, you kind of can't go wrong. A lot of the markets haven't even been switched on yet because the season's not launched. Anything that makes gear, like all of the work order stuff, right? Nobody who's spec'd into making gear right now is printing money yet, because most people aren't really looking for anything hyper competitive just now. Most people are looking for, like, you know, most people are playing with professions. Most people are getting a few basic bits and pieces set up. Nobody's doing anything particularly fancy yet. This is preparation mode. If you can make some gold during this preparation mode, great. Take it. But also be aware that, like, until the season launches, most of the economy is not at its ripest, right? You know, it's still very early days. Just switched on, don't know if it's been mentioned, but what's my opinion on blasphemite? Well, blasphemites are byproducts. Blasphemites are a spare bonus outcome of thematigizing materials. So if you're shuffling materials with alchemy, blasphemites are just a bonus that you get to craft and sell occasionally. If you can turn a profit by taking one material and converting it into other materials via thaumaturgy, thaumaturgy, however you want to describe it, however you want to say it, any gleaming transmutagen you make is just a bonus, right? So you craft your blasphemites and then you sell them for whatever. But it's the same with blasphemites, don't forget. Blasphemites will tank in price in the next few days because nobody's buying them. Who needs blasphemites right now? Do you need blasphemites right now? So this is kind of the reason why they're going to dumpster. But they'll have their day. They'll have their day in the sun, right? Blasphemites, as soon as the raid launches, and jewel crafters get their hands on, what is it, this thing, the Magnificent Jeweler's setting, which is a pattern that drops from the raid, then you'll see jewel crafters consume an ungodly amount of blasphemite very quickly. But until that point, they'll just sort of stack up and up and up and up and up. They don't really have a crafting cost to alchemists. They're just kind of something that you get occasionally as a bonus, which means there's no real reason that they won't just dumpster in terms of prices. Did you go profession vials? No, I went actual pure flasks. Or should I say I'm going pure flasks? It's still obviously very clearly work in progress. My concern with my alchemist is that I've probably missed a few knowledge points here and there. Meaning I might be a little bit behind the curve to being able to mass produce flasks at quality 3. But we've got all of next week really to worry about that. I don't think... Now, this is only napkin maths, but I don't think alchemists can get enough knowledge points to start guaranteeing flasks before the raid launches. I think it's going to take the 3rd and maybe even the 4th reset. Now, this is only dependent on how many knowledge points you can harvest from patron orders. But if you're really lucky with patron orders, you might start guaranteeing flasks on week like 2, maybe 3. But yeah, it's all a little bit RNG regarding patron orders, honestly. What's the better long term? What's the better play long term? Going on my alchemy alts into thaumaturgy or flask for alchemical chaos? Well, just do some napkin maths to how long it's going to take you before you can actually craft alchemical chaos flasks like properly. They need... God, this is testing by memory now, isn't it? I think they need 260 knowledge points before you can guarantee them at Q3. Which means that's, you know, that's a good amount of time. That's a good amount of effort on each alchemy. Especially if you're doing it on an alt. If it's on an alt, you're going to lose knowledge points here, there, and everywhere. Especially if you're trying to do it on many alts. You will be able to get to the point where you can use Q3 materials and concentration to craft a couple of them. But bear in mind, doing that will probably also put you at a price disadvantage to those who can mass produce them quite quickly. I'm not bullish on alt armies, you may have noticed, right? I'm still 50-50 on alt armies. I definitely see that they have value, but I also don't think they're as huge of a cash cow as people might be assuming they are. Concentration is great, right? But what a lot of people don't realize is just how, one, limited you are going to be to produce materials. You might be able to press the craft flask button once a day per character. So if you've got 10 alchemists, you can make 10 flasks a day. I don't know if you ever tried selling flasks in Dragonflight, but you can sell 10 flasks like this, and they're gone. Right? When it's reset day, you can sell 10 flasks in a minute. There is no issue selling 10 flasks. Which means the demand for them at their peak is substantially more than what you and your alt army is ever going to be able to deal with particularly. And second to that, those alchemists that have pushed really hard to the point where they can start guaranteeing those flasks, even if they're not at the stage where they can guarantee them, they probably have more resourcefulness than you. They probably have more multi-crafted than you. They are probably fighting tooth and nail for cheaper materials than you. Their crafting costs, even on one single character, maybe even before they can guarantee them, are going to absolutely dumpster on most other players. Because an extra 2% multi-craft, an extra 2% resourcefulness here or there makes a lot of difference. It makes a lot of difference. It's going to be a long, long time before alts can sort of an army of alchemist alts can really compete, I think. Now, here's a controversial point. Here's a controversial perspective. It's sort of slightly controversial because it's difficult to actually quantify and prove this. But Team EU is often far more aggressive on price than Team NA. Margins are always skinnier on Team EU, almost categorically on every market. Don't necessarily know why. Probably 2 to 3 times the players is a good reason. But margins are always much skinnier on Team NA. Sorry, Team EU as opposed to Team NA. Meaning that what you might be able to set up a bunch of alts over on Team NA, see some small profit, like, you know, 500 gold per alchemist per day sort of profits. You may not necessarily see the same on Team EU, which is why I'm 50-50 on the fence about these alt armies. I think most people tap out before they even make gold with their alt armies, honestly. I don't think people will level them to 80. I don't think people will keep up with the amount of knowledge points on each one. I don't think people will keep up with the patron orders on each one. I don't think people will keep up with the artisan security they need on each one. I don't think people will keep up with the expenses that comes with each one. I don't think people will keep up with most of that. Most people aren't particularly enthusiastic about doing all of that on like 1 or 2 professions. Never mind doing it like 20, 30, 50 times over. It's wild. What you're probably going to have to do if you are in the sort of the alt army camp is hyper focus on the cheaper stuff, the more, you know, the quality 2 markets. Markets which you can mass produce and markets which the big time alchemists are probably not focusing on as much. The big time alchemists are going to go hyper hard on quality 3 materials. They're going to go hyper hard on mass producing top quality stuff. But because they're doing that, they're probably not trying anywhere near as hard to supply the cheaper quality 2 markets, for example. That's where you might be able to step in with quality 1 herbs and you know, quality 1 materials, maybe use some concentration every day, produce some quality 2 flasks, maybe. I don't know, this is all speculation, but do I want to invest in some tinder boxes? Tinder boxes, man, flipping hell. There's some interesting markets. There's definitely some interesting markets. Tinder boxes look to be a fun one because they were very readily available in the first few days because everybody was out in the open world leveling. We see this every time. We see this every expansion. Everything is massively available in the first couple of days. And then we start to see what things actually are a little bit rarer. Early data seems to indicate that tinder boxes are a less than a 1% drop chance from treasures. Meaning you could easily fly around farming treasures for an hour, maybe 2 hours, and not even see a single tinder box. Which, when every single sanctified alloy needs a tinderbox. There is a lot of just materials out there that need these tinderboxes. If I am right, I'm pretty sure a lot of the top-end enchants also need them. So it's one of those things that each character that looks to gear up might need a couple of them each. Maybe not directly, but like in the things that they consume. So yeah, they could be quite fun. They could be quite fun. I'm not doing any wild investments though, honestly. I've told myself that I'm going to steer clear of the wild investments. I'll speculate with you lot all day long, but I've set myself a target to not waste a bajillion gold on silly little investments this expansion. You win some and you lose some. Even somebody that's got as much practice doing it as me. You win some, you lose some. I'm not in a position where I need to take the risk. I'd much rather play and tinker with professions, if I'm honest. You're not going to buy the entire market of diamonds like you did in Dragonflight. No, probably not. Although, as much as I say that, temptation will get the better of me at some point, I'm sure. trophy necklaces going from 5 gold to 40k. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so soon as everybody suddenly realizes, oh, I need 3 of these. And when everybody goes and tries and buys 3 of them, they tend to get quite expensive quite quick, you know? Do you think we should be holding our rank 3 mats until Season 1 launch? Bolts, dusts, crystal, herbs, etc. Intermediate materials, there's an argument for, there's an argument against. There's a strong argument for and there's a strong argument against doing that. I'd say that if you can sell them and you can sell them at a profit now, sell them now. There's no real... Take your profit. If there's ever profit available on the table, I think you should take it. Because the reality is even if the price of them does spike, it's a crafted material, make it again. I tend to suggest most people take their profits where they can, rather than waiting for a bigger profit. Waiting for a bigger profit is just being greedy. If you can take a material and you can turn it into something else and you can sell it for more than what it cost you to make it, I think you should just do it. Just do it. If the opportunity arises to do it again tomorrow, do it again tomorrow. This goes for people who are using their concentration to produce quality 3 stuff, for example. Same logic applies. If you can sell it and make some gold now, I probably suggest you sell it and make your gold now. I've had 5 tinderboxes in total. I've farmed quite a lot over in Hallowfall. Probably opened 200 to 500 lot boxes. So about the 1% drop rate sounds right. Yeah, they seem to be pretty scarce. Although the early numbers are deceptive, I sort of have a sneaky feeling that they drop more frequently for level 80s. I can't put any exact science to this. Other than, you know, if it's such a low drop chance in the first place, it's going to be hard. But I have a sneaky suspicion that by the time you're level 80, you get them more frequently. But that's merely a rumour. I'm afraid they might tune the drop rates close to Season 1. Like they tuned the leather in Shadowlands. I don't know. They tend to leave most things alone. That said, they have already hot-fixed prospecting. But I have a sneaky suspicion the only reason they changed prospecting is because it was ludicrously expensive to level... Or not ludicrously expensive, should I say. It was you needed a disproportionate amount of materials to level jewel crafting than you did for nearly any of the other professions. Which is a balance thing more than it is an economy thing. So changing the prospecting rates to make it a little bit more viable to buy some ore and prospect it and level your profession was maybe the reason they did that. Drop rates on things like treasure items out in the world, historically they leave them alone. Historically they let the player base do what the player base needs to do. You know, centaur necklaces, they didn't jack up the drop rate of centaur necklaces overnight just because they spiked and everybody wanted one. Yeah, I think they'll probably leave it alone. This is one thing Blizzard had, to give them some credit, the one thing they have been quite good over the years is just leaving shit alone. Why the economy works quite well and why people have faith in playing with it, really. Soon it will be 10k, then it will be 20k. Well, there's always hype, right? This always happens. We see there's always hype in this sort of stuff. Look at I know you're experienced in what you're doing. Look at it from a patch to patch scenario. When do you make most of your gold flipping materials? You make most of your gold flipping materials before the new patch lands. Because the early bird gets the worm, The early bird buys them all out at a cheap price. The early bird then sells them all to the latecomer speculator who thinks they'll flip them for a profit when the patch lands. The patch then lands, and it's those middle people who are left holding the bag because everybody tries to dump them when they are in need. When the demand turns up, everybody dumps them in one go and the price tanks. So it's probably exactly the same with these tinderboxes. There's no demand for them really right now, other than people making sanctified alloys and making a few weapon enchants and stuff like that. But the demand for those materials isn't here yet either. So all this hype, all this speculation, all this talk about it, whether it be here on stream or in Discords or in WoW Economy Reddits or whatever, all that's doing is pumping the price of them. People are buying them, people are speculating on them, people are like panic buying them because they see the price has gone up from like 3,000 to 4,000. I must buy some now, I must hold on to some. And the reality is when everybody decides to sell, they'll just tank. We've seen this 50 times now. It's not uncommon. The time to have bought your tinderboxes has already been and gone. Don't be buying a bunch of tinderboxes just because you see the price going up now. Because you'll get left holding the bag. Almost guaranteed. There's already people out there that have got thousands of them squirreled away, and they paid 1,000 gold a piece for them. If you're paying 5k for them now, you're going to get your ass handed to you when everybody sells them at 3,000 gold and you end up losing on everyone. Right, that's my 5,000 ore prospected. Now I need to jot this down and make sure that I've got notes of what I actually got. So now I can actually start getting some data, and once I've got some data, I can start determining when I should be buying shit and what I should be doing with it when I buy it. How many of the onyxes did we get? 168. How many sapphires did I get? 168. Wow, that's incredibly even numbers. How many emeralds did I get? 159. How many rubies did I get? 173. And surprise, surprise, no ambers because it's not possible with my build. I got crushed gemstones 100 exactly. Exactly 100. I got 477 pebbles. And we got 163 glass. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Right, put all those mats in the bank. And now we pick another ore. This data collection's expensive, y'all. This is expensive. It's getting real expensive. But I don't mind too much. Let's also just put that there for a minute. That's what was left over from resourcefulness. I wonder if I need to track that as well. What's my resourcefulness value? If I prospect a Kyrite, I'm at 18% resourcefulness. I just prospected 5,000 a Kyrite and was left with 258. Well, that's not 20%. That's not 18% of 5,000, is it? So what does resourcefulness actually do? What is 18% of 5,000? $900? Well, I definitely didn't get 900, did I? Yeah, okay, because this is the chance for resourcefulness to proc. You then have to take into consideration that when it procs, what does it do? Well, that's about a third, isn't it? That seems to be about 30... Well, it's a little under a third. It's about 30%, isn't it? Okay. So it seems to be that resourcefulness is about 1/3 when it procs. Okay. That's going to be useful information to know. I don't know what I'd do with that particularly right now. Let's get back to just getting data, shall we? Once I've got data, I'll figure out what we do with it. How does the gold graph look now? Oh, it's not good. Oh, it's not good. It's still... It's still in a very negative direction. But I'm actually now at the point where I've mostly stopped spending gold to level up my professions. The big expenditure has kind of happened now. Now I'm at the point where I can log in and I can like craft a few bits and pieces and the graph will actually start to go up now. Mostly. What am I, 12 mil in the hole so far for the expansion? LOL! Rip gold. It's all good. I have my war bank is stocked with probably 5 to 7 mil of materials, so it's fine.
I have an extended supply of goods for Outlanders.
Right, now I need some data on a Kyrite quality 2. Wow, it's nice to be able to go to the auction house and just do that. That's wonderful, you know. That's very nice to just be able to go yoink. Stand on my rock. This is my rock. What I should probably be doing actually is using some crafting speedy potion-y thing. Do I have any? I don't have crafting speed potions. Let's fix that real fast. If we're going to be standing near prospecting, we might as well be doing it quickly.
I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
Does Quick Hand still work? Or have they fixed that yet? I wonder if they will fix this.
My thanks for your patronage.
Don't fix Tinderbox, guys. It's glowing orbs all over again. They'll increase the drop rate soon. I suppose, in fairness, glowing orbs is definitely is one thing that they did actually go in and adjust. I'll give you that. I know I did say that they usually leave things alone, but you are right. They did actually increase the drop rate of glowing orbs. I'm not sold on these like community-driven hype prices on things. I'm really not. I think you run the risk way too easily of like ending up holding the bag. Somebody seriously reset Null Lotus too. There was a treasure that was respawning, was it not? That was dishing out Null Lotus. Maybe they fixed that. So maybe the supply of Null Lotus has actually been sort of squished a bit. And it might go more in line with Null Stone. Is that the one? They need to increase the tinderbox drop rates. Imagine the price of sanctified alloys. Oh, well, there was no, in the beta, I was telling people that sanctified alloys will be 10k a piece. There's no, it's of no surprise to me that sanctified alloys are ridiculously expensive. And I don't necessarily think that changing tinderboxes in any way, shape or form will really make much of a difference to that. I'm still pretty convinced that it's when the season launches and when everybody starts buying those materials and the quality 3 stuff just gets stripped bare, yeah, we will see some wild swings in prices. Volumes dropped from 18k to only 6k in an hour. Somebody's made a big gamble. So 12,000 Null Lotus. Sheesh. Go big or go home, I guess. Do you plan on holding gems? NA prospecting's practically not worth it. I'm not really worried about the profits right now. I'm doing it mostly to gain as much data as I can on prospecting. I have the suspicion that prices are pretty cheap right now, so I'm not really worried that I might lose. If you buy or prospect it, sell gems like in one go, there's probably not much gold in it unless you are hyper-spec'd into prospecting. But this is why you got to do the maths. One of the reasons why prospecting has always made me a boatload of cash. I've made so much gold over the years with prospecting because I make sure that I harvest as much data as I can so that my numbers are as accurate as possible, so that I know what I'm doing, so that I remove the risk. I remove the RNG from the system, and I do that because I know full well that most other people won't. A lot of other people will rely on somebody else to have done that hard work and just blindly trust that that information is good. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen that people are going to start asking me for this data, and yeah, sure, you can have it, but I've got to get it first. So I'm sure there's some people out there that have already done this en masse, but it's the same scenario of, do you trust somebody else's data, or would it be safer to prospect a bunch of stuff and generate your own? Prices will be near their lows around now and for the next few days. In about 5 to 7 days, prices will start to really go up, and raid week prices might skyrocket it. Yeah, I think that as soon as prices, I think, are generally probably quite cheap today. And I say probably, this is a huge assumption. Probably quite cheap because the auction house was trash for a few days. And a lot of people, when the auction house was trash, were just like, well, you know what? I ain't going to go anywhere near it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go pick up some herbs. And so they spent a few days flying around picking up herbs, and they didn't even put them on the auction house. So there's probably going to be a big supply of materials today, which might push the prices down. Which means it might be a good time to pick up some of those easy materials. And you're right, in a few days' time, people will start tinkering with professions a lot less. They'll stop farming quite as aggressively. The cheap prices will put people off farming more. When they take today's numbers and they go, oh, I'm only making 20,000 gold an hour right now. I was making 60 last week. Oh, well, maybe I won't bother farming a little bit then. I'll go do something else. You know, it's the supply and demand curves, like, it changes daily. All I know is historically, as soon as the raid launches, the amount of people farming disappears. Right? You all of a sudden are like, where did all of these druids go? I can tell you where they all went. They all went into Mythic Plus instances, and they all went into the raid. The first couple of weeks of an expansion, when it's kind of like off-season for most raiders or endgame players, people just fill their time with farming. And so there's huge amounts of materials knocking about in the first couple of weeks. Sure, there's a lot of it being consumed by profession junkies, but the big point to take away from that is that the tap gets virtually turned off soon as the season starts. Release some fake data to profit off people dumping the auction house with cheap mats. I'm quite sure people could call other people out on doing that sort of shenanigans. Spent 2 mil on parts yesterday to gamble for permits, but not even one. Oh, I mean, permit gambling is flipping gacha farming on acid. That is. Yeah, I wouldn't be gambling on permits. Dear Lord. Right, that was stack number 2. Let's get stack number 3 on the go. Even this week, you can tell people have got done with farming their heroics and are now back to farming. Prices are dropping. Well, I think it's more the fact that people have put 3 days worth of materials on the auction house in one go. The auction house has been so tragic to try and use the last few days. Most people haven't bothered. The auction house technically functions, but unless a proper fix is coming within the next 3 weeks, I'm going to have mailbox expiry nightmares. With the number of auctions I have to post, this is just not practical. Yeah, maybe it might be time to run up a few guild banks just to empty mailboxes. Aspiring Goblin only got 1.5 mil to start with. What do you suggest? Well, you could very quickly spend that 1.5 million in professions. Whether you choose to do it or not is up to you. If you haven't started with your professions already, well, I don't know what to tell you, honestly. Gold is something that you can very, very quickly spend at the moment. Power pushing your professions. You can shuffle. It's not cheap. It takes a lot of time. Does it give you an advantage? Yes. Will you be able to capitalize on that advantage? I don't know. Have people already done it in squished market prices? Yes. I would go the safely approach with most professions, honestly. Get your patron orders done. Make sure you're getting your weekly knowledge. Keep them ticking over. But I wouldn't be throwing hundreds of thousands, millions of gold at professions, really. Too much now. Those early days, those early first to market advantages are gone. So, be greedy. My advice is always be greedy. Pick professions that benefit the character you're playing. If you're playing on a plate-wearing paladin, pick blacksmithing. At least then you can make yourself your own gear. And if you can sell some to other people, make some gold from it, great. You know, be greedy. If you end up buying thousands of potions and flasks from the auction house every week and it's costing you a bomb, maybe pick up alchemy. Make some of that stuff yourself. Hopefully save yourself a bit of gold by making it yourself. And then put yourself in the position to sell it to others. That's usually the best way to start with professions. And at least if you do it that way, you're probably not going to accidentally spend way more gold than you should. Failing that, the 100% risk-free approach is to pick up herbalism and mining. And go gather herbs and ore. You genuinely cannot lose.
Is that your wallet? Or are you just glad to see me?
Bliss said they're throwing more hardware at the problem next. Server maintenance. What was it that they said? A database table that was supposed to hold about 10,000 entries was holding multiple tens of millions. Yeah.
Are you just glad to see
me? There was clearly something that had gone horribly wrong, and the servers were just cooked mode. Captain Chipmunk with the gifties. Thank you very much. Enjoy your little spectral pigeon. Thank you. You can't lose when mining unless you explode yourself on an easy node. Oh, that's true. Those things are funny. Those things are really funny. I almost like. You almost want to have a full, deafness build. You want a full set of deafness gear, or a deafness tool at least to switch to when you overload on one of those. So you can quickly tap the little nodes and then peace out before it goes boom. The only time I think that going full deafness is the right play. What's the best spec for Dawn Crafters to make the rank 3 gilded vials? Shaping, I think. You go into shaping, and there's the glassware. It's really quick and easy to make rank 3 gilded vials. Really quick and easy. It's a supplementary build to the prospecting route, if I remember right. But that's also probably where a lot of the glass has gone in the last few days. These shards of glass have absolutely exploded in price. Glittering glass, that's what they're called. As I suspect, everybody's starting to mass produce flasks and selling them to alchemists, who are in turn preparing their tens of thousands of potions and flasks. I would guess. I'm not that heavy on alchemy, as it stands right now. I've got a character that's kind of working towards flasks, but I have no expectation of being there first or doing hugely aggressive things with it just yet. That might be next week. Next week might be alchemy week. Do you think a disenchanting spec enchanter would still be worth it? I mean, absolutely. The main advantage there is put it on a character that you play a lot. If you're out there doing world quests, if you're out there killing bosses, if you're looting rare and, well, greens, blues and purples all day long, you might as well disenchant it and get better value from it. There are a few people out there that have highly promoted like enchanting as a strong shuffle opportunity. But same scenario, always remember, if everybody does the same thing, nobody wins. So whilst there's a lot of hype around disenchanting right now, it's probably causing the price of enchanting mats to absolutely tank at the exact same time. Whilst actually all it's doing is probably boosting the price of bismuth through the roof. So maybe you'd be better off going and mining and selling it to all of the enchanters who also have blacksmithing, who are also making blacksmith tools to then disenchant, for example. Everybody zigs, consider zagging. They've started tanking 100% in the last 24 hours after YouTubers have posted vids at the same time. Yeah, I mean, it's I imagine Student, I know Zanzaful has done some videos on it. We're all guilty of the same thing, right? People ask, you know, it's common for people to want to know what us content creators are doing. But the downside is of when we tell everybody what we're doing, there is a percentage of that audience that will then copy exactly what the content creator did. And so there is a slight downside to that side of things. But like I said, when everybody's zigging, maybe start zagging. If everybody is, if there's hype on one thing, maybe think what is the thing that all of those are then going to need, e.g. bismuth. All of those fully enchant spec'd disenchanters are going through bismuth at a rate that is astronomical right now. It all leads back to farming. Be good at farming. At least have one character that's good at farming. You can't fail. Right, we have nearly churned through this tier 2 Akirite now, so let's start tracking some stuff here. How much of this did I smush? It was 5k, right? I think I smushed 5k. Track some numbers. I did the shuffle too, but you need an insane amount of dust for enchants. Yeah. Well, at least my leveling build for enchanting almost entirely uses dust. I don't think my leveling build uses a single shard or a single crystal, not until you get at least to like skill 60 or something. which when those leveling guides were conceived back in the beta was a very logical thing to do, because you would assume that the basic material is going to be the cheapest material, and then the rare material should be a little bit more expensive, and then the epic material should be the highest of prices. But of course it doesn't necessarily always work like that. This is why you can only do so much on the beta and on like PTRs and stuff like that. Sometimes you just got to wait for the economy to do its thing. Right, we've got 214 of those, 172 of those, 171 of those, Radiant Rubies 219, and of course 0 Ambers. I've had some wild swings in yields of items here. What did we get? Crushed gemstones. 104. The advantage here being is that they're quality 2. What's the price of quality 2 compared to the price of quality 1? It's not easy to see without them both in my bags. Pebbles, 379. That seems low. That seems really low for pebbles. Is that because we got an influx of something else somewhere else? We got 125 glass. That's not outrageous in terms of like stuff. How many knowledge points have you got in My Alchemist? Oh, I'm not sure. I've not min-maxed My Alchemist yet. I know I'm going in the direction of flasks, but I haven't been able to. I haven't. For example, I don't think on My Alchemist I've gone through and harvested first-time crafts. I've not farmed up new recipes. I've not, you know, done too much to get the Alchemist up to speed yet. Okay, there seems to be a slight uptick in the amount of stuff you get when you prospect quality 2 instead of quality 1. But the question really becomes is, does that slight uptick in materials actually translate to more money? Based upon the fact that you're going to pay more for the quality 2 in the first place. I don't know. I don't know. Until I put some numbers against this, I don't know. But this is good. This is good figuring out. This is good data. Once we got the data, we'll figure out all the maths. We'll do all the numbers on it. And it'll start to come together.
I have an extended supply of goods for Outlanders.
I'm in no rush. Oh, what's also quite interesting to know is I got 233 out of 5,000. 233 out of 5,000, 258 the first time round. So our resourcefulness was less effective on quality 2. But, you know, that's maths. The fact that they're close enough.
My directive has been...
Right, now I need to do what is potentially the expensive test and the one that I've been reluctant to do. But we might just have to do it. Wow, it's dead. Oh, it's gone. So much for the auction house being back up. Cooked.
Return and peruse my inventory.
Oh, it's gone. See you later. Servers said no. Oh well, that changes the plan for today. There were already ghost auctions 20 minutes ago.
My thanks for your patronage.
Smoked. Working for me.
I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
Lag, 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 lag. How many times can I say lag before anything happens? Lag, lag, lag. Servers reset. Oh, gold. Servers reset. Somebody feed those hamsters. Give those hamsters some nosh. Oh, God, this is an expensive test. This is a token's worth of gold level test. Christ. Right, well, for the greater good.
Return and peruse my inventory again.
There ain't no way I'm making profit on this. No way I'm making gold on this. It's all good. Right. How long have we got on our smush potion? 8 minutes. Have we done the test with Iron Claw too? No, because I've not spec'd into Iron Claw. I've gone the Akirite route. If you'd gone Emeralds and Sapphires, you'd be smushing Iron Claw. But there's no point me testing Iron Claw because I'm not any good at using it. This is bonus to your numbers when you prospect Iron Claw. To my understanding, these nodes are not very descriptive, and if you accidentally miss the fact that this is on Iron Claw and that this is on Iron Claw and that these are both on Akirite, you might end up with very different results. I've put a little video out on YouTube this morning. I have no idea how it's doing, actually, by the way. I should probably check, shouldn't I? I have no idea how the video's doing this morning. The student pet. Yeah, I'd highlight the fact that you have to have... does it make any difference? Well, I believe so, yeah. Like I said, this is why I'm testing. This is why I'm putting numbers to it. I wanted to make sure that I'd hyper-focused in one direction first, and then get my numbers. Another reason why you shouldn't necessarily take data from some random person on the internet and trust it to be correct. Because if you don't have the spec points in the same direction, your numbers aren't going to be the same either. Right, let's go. Let's see how this works. I suspect there to be a slight increase in the materials we get with prospecting quality 3. What I don't expect is the price to make it worthwhile. Is it worth to get a second crafting profession just for artisans acuity? I spend quite a lot of acuity for knowledge points, and now I need the acuity for tools. Yeah, that second profession slot you can use to pick up other professions, and you can always then funnel the artisan's acuity into your main profession. That's the basis of the profession shuffle. You have one main profession, and then you use that second slot to do other profession stuff that grants you artisan's acuity. And the reason it's so expensive is because you level up that second profession, do a bunch of things with it, then drop it completely in favor of picking up a different profession and doing the whole thing again. That way you can rotate through a whole bunch of professions and get a huge amount of artisan's acuity very quickly, but it's mighty expensive to do it. If I'm spec'd into Iron Claw and you're spec'd into Akirite, what difference will it make? Just the quantity of the specific gems, or... well, the main difference is that you will be prospecting Iron Claw instead. I need to prospect Akirite because that's what I've spec'd into. You'll need to prospect into Iron Claw because that's what you're spec'd into. How many points you've put into it, what your tools are, you know, all of that will have a difference on your prospecting results. Is TSM worth the setup? TSM is very, very, very worthwhile understanding and knowing what it's good at and knowing how to use it. The knowledge of somebody that can quickly use TSM to their advantage is just that. It's a nice big advantage. If you can quickly throw together a basic TSM setup to do something, you can definitely react quite quickly. And then long term, you can build out a nice, neat, tidy, organized profile that does a bunch of fancy things and limits your time spent doing repeated operations. That's the advantage of TSM. It's definitely worth learning how TSM operates and how it functions. But you also need to understand at the very same time that there are times where you are probably not going to use TSM. The first week or so of an expansion, for example, is a time where you should probably spend less time tinkering with TSM and more time just doing something. You can't heavily rely on the prices that TSM gives you in the first few days because market prices don't exist yet. So you can't then use TSM to automate and tell you what you should and shouldn't be crafting based on its ludicrously wild assumption of prices. You got to do that sort of stuff yourself. But then much later in the expansion, when material prices have normalized, then it can make your whole crafting operation super fast. TSM is one tool in the Goblin toolbox, is the way I think of it. And if if you pick up a drill and you start bashing things with a drill, that's maybe not the right way to use the drill. You should pick up a hammer instead. It's about using the right tool for the right job. TSM's a really strong tool if you use it correctly at the right time for the right things. It's not a magic add-on that makes gold. That's the point, right? Just installing TSM, it's not going to make gold. But learning how it works is a useful tool to have. Useful knowledge to have for sure. Oh shit, you know what I've done here that's going to highly skew my numbers is I have no idea how many quality 3 dust this has produced because I had quality 3 dust in my bags to begin with. Oops. Well, I can kind of check the VOD, can't I? The advantage of doing this live and having it all recorded. It's fine. Why don't you test this on beta? Why not do it on live? At least if doing it on live, at least if it's profitable, I can take some profit from it. I could go and do. I don't even know if the beta. The beta, yes, is still up. But I don't even know if it's got the same patch as what live is. So. As soon as the game's live, I do pretty much all my testing on the live version. How did I get to level 100 in jewel crafting? I think I went the blast. I think I crafted blasphemites all the way to 100. I think. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've still got them in my bag. Yeah. Elusive blasphemites, look. I crafted a huge amount of these. I just checked, I think you had 6,748 dust before you started prospecting. Okay, cool. Thank you. Interestingly, 2 people have come back and have said different numbers. 6,476. Okay, now 2 people have said that same number. We'll go with that one. We'll go with that one. I ran so many dungeons and the recipe never dropped. How many runs did you have to do? 0. I bought the recipe. I ain't going out there farming when I can buy it. That's crazy talk. Crazy talk. I don't farm stuff, you can just buy it. My memory sucks. I forgot the number whilst typing it. I do that all the time. I do that all the time. Makes it this makes it difficult when you're trying to get accurate numbers in a spreadsheet. Remember, time is money. It is indeed. It is indeed. Beta has the old build. Oh, there we go then. There we go. This could predominantly be why there's a huge amount of gems super cheap at the moment, because everybody's done exactly what I'm doing right now. They've run off and they've bought a bunch of ore and they've prospected it all to try and get new data. Whereas a lot of those people will probably throw all of those materials straight back on the auction house, flooding it. There's a strong chance I might level up another Jawn Crafter just to spec into gem crafting. If I'm going to be able to produce the materials at a relatively competitive rate, I could look at doubling my profits if I can then look at using them somewhere constructively as well. But that's going to be quite an aggressively competitive market as well, I think, so we'll see. I'm not sure I want the expense of like hyper leveling Jawn Crafting again. I'd rather let somebody else do it. Draenei Hunter Jawn Crafter. Well, yeah, if I'm going to go that route, I should probably do it properly, shouldn't I? Yeah. Right, is that second or third stack? Third stack, 2 to go. 2 stacks to go. I'm certainly not noticing a huge improvement in the quantity of gems here by the looks of things. This section of the test is not going to be profitable. I can already tell that. Unless the crushed gemstones at Q3 like come in clutch. If they can make the difference. But that depends on how many of them I'm getting. You don't need to be skill 100 in Jawn Crafting for rank 3 vials, do you? Not sure. You probably do. You pretty much need to be... You need the 100 plus 40 setup for most things in the game. The safe assumption is that you need it. There are some small scenarios out there where you don't. Leatherworking, for example. What's going on with leatherworking? How can leatherworkers get away with not having any of their blue tools? Very weird. Obviously, if you have your blue tools, you'll still have more secondary stats and will be able to squeeze out a bit more profit. But it's odd how you can start guaranteeing quality 3 things with leatherworking without a single blue tool. I love how the lure drop market is crashed after the first auction house reset and now Stormdust is crashing after the second. My god. It's whatever's popularized on the day, honestly. We both know that leatherworking never got finished. Well, yeah, that's definitely how it feels to me. But it seems like a really... Because the numbers are still carefully calculated. But they're carefully calculated differently to every other profession, which is weird. That said, if you're Draenei, you can get away with 1 green accessory and 1 blue accessory and a blue tool. Save yourself 300 artisan security. You could potentially do away with not having... I mean, if you're going prospecting, you don't need multicraft, you don't need ingenuity. So... if you were Draenei, you could maybe get away with not making this. You'd still want to make the others because resourcefulness is a big win to you, and you make your tool with resourcefulness all over the place, so you'd probably still want these two, but you could get away with not making this, possibly. If you had the racial. Or you could not have the racial and just do it anyway. This is why I don't think for very long the racials will matter. Using a racial so that you can take a shortcut is only great. It only works well until people can brute force it anyway, which has already happened. So in that regard, I don't think it really matters. It might make more of a difference late. I mean, I don't even think it will make much of a difference ever, honestly. The maths, yes, is there to say that you can do it with only 2 blue tools, but if you can get 3, just do it. You know, just do it. You'll be. Don't worry about it then. Just get it done. Does anybody know how skill affects prospecting? From my understanding, it doesn't, but I have all of the skill. So, if you, like I said, if you try and take shortcuts, there'll be people who haven't taken the shortcut, and so it doesn't really matter. It got developed to be functional, but never fully fleshed out like alchemy, etc. Blizzard got leatherworking working, and it just ran out of time, and they said ship it. Maybe. I mean, the fact that I think a lot of the professions fall under that category. I think this new concentration and this new ingenuity system that they added to the professions was a step in the right direction, absolutely. Concentration and ingenuity is a much better system for most players to deal with and understand. But I do think it was at the cost of some of the fun of professions. There's basically no actual fun. It's all utility. It's all stuff with a purpose. You know, everybody has the things they're meant to have. A tailor is meant to make a few bags. They expanded on bags a little bit, but a tailor's meant to make cloth gear. Do they make cloth gear? Yes, they make cloth gear. Do they make some intermediates that go into making that cloth gear? Yeah, they make some bolts. Leatherworking. Can we take some skinning materials and turn them into intermediates? Yes. Can we turn those intermediates into profession gear? Yes. But it's the kind of like the bare minimum, right? It's just stuff. There's basically no toys or fun stuff anywhere. Inscription got gutted. Inscription doesn't have any of its sort of like no glyphs, no, like I don't know. They just they got everything working, and then they were like, right, it's working, and now most of it's balanced. It's time to go. Hopefully that sort of stuff comes in the next builds. Who knows? It'd be fun if they did something, though. You got most of your artisans from the profession shuffle and the NPC work orders. So I can be calm that I didn't miss anything to get artisans accurate. Yeah, I mean, I rotated through a bunch of professions and was out farming to get herbalism knowledge points and doing all sorts of stupid things on this Jewel Crafter to get that artisan security. But now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have to worry about artisan security. Because I'm doing this on 8 characters, I wanted to get a couple of them to the point where I just don't have to worry about them. And all I do each week now is farm knowledge points. Okay. We have finally prospected that 5,000 Akirite. Let's put these numbers in my table. I'm going to need to do some napkin maths as well to figure out the dust, aren't I? How many onyxes have we got? 249. How many sapphires? 195. Emeralds, 205. Rubies, 230. Obviously 0 ambers. Crushed gemstones. We'll come back to crushed gemstones. Pebbles, 257. Whoa! Whoa! That's something that's definitely interesting. Basically no pebbles or glass relative to prospecting the lower grades. Which long term is a benefit because you don't really want the pebbles or the glass long term. That's kind of considered the waste product anyway. Right, what are we looking at gemstones? What was the... How much have I got now in my bags? 6,581. How many did I have before? 6,476. 6,476. So I made 105 Q3 gem dust off that pull. Does that sound about right? That not only sounds about right, that sounds exactly like I'd expect about 100 gem dust from 5,000 ore. Okay. Okay, the yield is definitely the greatest on rare gems, the higher the quality of the ore. But price of the ore will determine what you actually prospect. That's quite cool. Okay. Is there any reason to ever prospect bismuth? I mean, I guess there could be. Same scenario, though, is I don't really know. I don't know until I test it, do I? Way less glass and way less pebbles, though, when prospecting the lower grade stuff. Sorry, the higher the grade the ore, the less waste product you get, which is quite cool.
My directive is to serve you.
Let's put all of this in here. Resourcefulness is... Yeah, so it looks like these numbers for resourcefulness are about right. Let's put this in here for now so we don't accidentally do the same thing again.
My directive has been
Right. Are we doing dual crafting? Yeah, I'm trying to get some numbers. Getting some data. Trying to figure out prospect null stones.
I have calibrated my
Yeah, I'm not
process
going to
be
test that one.
reasonable.
I'll let somebody else test that. I'll let somebody else test that. Right, bismuth. Bismuth Q1. Bismuth Q2 is practically the same goddamn price. I'm not sure I'm excited about prospecting 5,000 bismuth at Q3 though. That stuff's outrageously expensive. I've got much better uses for bismuth at Q3 than prospecting it. Sheesh, that's 1,000,000 gold! Get wrecked. I'm not doing that for data. Jesus. I'm willing to waste money. I'm not willing to flush it down the toilet. You watch, it'll be like super valuable to prospect now. Right, back on our rock. Back on the rock. Back on Dwayne. Right, let's make sure there's nothing in our bags that's going to taint the results. And let's go, go, go. Grinding stone on the grindstone. Hey! Clever. I like that. You're right. Do you think the prices for reagents will go up again now that nobody is inhibited by the auction house load times and starts crafting? No idea. Prices could go up, prices could go down. Way too general of a question, my friend. I appreciate the effort, but way too general of a question. You can start guesstimating and you can start speculating on, like, you gotta really dial down a little bit deeper than just will reagents go up or will reagents go down. Some things will go up, some things will go down. Bismuth prospecting only gives amber, and the proc chances of turning amber into another gem you get from the knowledge tree, so it's not worth it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm not expecting anything great from bismuth, which is mostly why I'm not going to bother buying the Q3 ore and getting data on it. A lot of waste coming in through here. A lot of pebbles, a lot of glass. Although, if there's a run on those materials, who knows? Who knows? I'd also point out that I'm only now getting what seems to be 2 of the gems. And very rarely one of the other. Which seems very strange. Probably because I haven't specced into all of the trees. Bismuth prospecting is probably going to be more lucrative once you've filled out all of the nodes, I reckon. Once you got full build, 20 points in each of the gem colours, then it might be a little bit more even. Before that, though, I think this is going to be trash and a waste of time. It might be that bismuth ends up being the shuffle, the shuffle ore. In terms of, you might look at taking bismuth, and you might look at taking everything you get from bismuth and just smushing all of it down into something else. So you might take, in theory, all of these gems, break the ambers down further, break the onyxes down further, break the rubies down further, just break everything as much as you possibly can with bismuth. It's just a lot of processing, I think. I'm already drawing that conclusion. Tested prospecting some rank 3 bismuth today on the beta. Well, the beta's got the old build for starters, so I'd be very careful about taking data from the beta. Retail has a different build than what the beta does, and there was prospecting changes very recently, which is why a lot of people are doing their data again. But either way, 1k ore got you 150 pebbles. I've just got 182 on the quality 1, 48 glass and 82 ambers. Yeah, I wouldn't. You can already see that the results are very different. Ambers make this junk stamina gems, but there's going to be little demand since Bisgear requires every colour of gem. Yeah. You get way less dust from the ambers versus the rare gems as well. Not sure if you've tested it yet, but the yield from cut gems when crushing is nearly triple that of raw gems. Crushing cut gems is more of a waste management system than something you'd actually mass produce. In terms of, you might look at buying quality 1 gems, quality 1 cut gems to then crush when profitable. But you're definitely not going to cut them first and then crush them, because the amount of dust that goes into them in the first place is more than the dust you'll ever get out. So it's kind of waste management, really. Cutting gems a lot of the time is a loss based off the amount of gems you put in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, yeah, it's not something that you would actually do yourself. It's just, you know, if rank 1 cut gems stack up on the auction house based upon the fact that everybody's crafting them and nobody has no idea what to do with them, that's when you might be able to hoover a bunch of them up and crush them down and turn them into something more than the sum of their parts. But even still, that's going to be quite limited. Plus, if you're doing that, you're throwing yet more bismuth in the mix. Out of curiosity, if I was to take these deadly ambers, for example, which fall in that category, they fall in the category of something mass-produced. Mass-produced, they're sold cheap because people craft them when leveling. But if I was to throw some bismuth at them of Q3, would this then spit out Q3 dust? I'm wondering if I need to track this first in any way. Okay, I probably shouldn't base my bismuth maths until I've got a full build. Because I didn't get a single sapphire from that full stack. I only got 7 radiant rubies, but is that because there's only a 2% chance to find a stunning sapphire instead of an amber when prospecting, because I've not put any points in it? And also hence why I didn't get any emeralds. But I got quite a few onyxes, I got quite a few rubies. Okay, this is something that prospecting bismuth now is a tragic idea. Prospecting bismuth is probably terrible. There's way too many uses for bismuth as it stands currently in other things, which is elevating its price. Secondly, it's going to require you to have all your you're going to need all of these 4 maxed out before prospecting bismuth is even something you'd consider. And there's not enough knowledge points knocking about right now to be able to do that. So I'm not convinced I'm going to be prospecting bismuth anytime soon. And more importantly, I can't really get any good substantial data off the back of it, because that data is going to change every time I put points in here. So it's not super reliable for testing purposes even. So actually, all of that ore I've just bought, I'll just use it for other stuff. You 100% don't need to ask if you can ask a question. Just ask the question. Just ask the question. I try my best to keep up with chat. I'll get to... If I miss a question, you can always ask it again. You spent 40 points into the second node. Yeah, gem finding. Zanzafal's busy turning all of the bismuth into storm dust. Is he doing his disenchant shuffle still? You spent 40 points on the second node and 20 points in the onyx one. Let's just... What? Would it profit from the gem finding but not the on... I don't really understand your question, if I'm honest. But, like, put it this way, if you're prospecting Iron Claw, you take these outer nodes. If you're prospecting a Kyrite, you take these inner nodes. And eventually you fill them all. And once you've filled them all, maybe you can start looking at prospecting bismuth, maybe, possibly. How is the skill calculated for the emerald? The onyx one has no bearing on the emerald one. Each point gives a 1% chance for that specific type. Yeah, so what these nodes do in essence is give you a chance to swap the ambers that you would normally get and swap them into the gem in question. So having both rubies and onyxes full here means I've got a 20 plus 5, I think, because you got plus 2, plus 3. A 25% chance when I get an amber to turn it into a ruby instead. If it procs, I get the ruby. If it doesn't proc, I get the amber. And so what you can eventually do once you've got 40 points in 20 points in all of these, once you've got points in all of these, what it then means is that every time you get an amber, naturally by prospecting, there's a 25% chance it will be an emerald, 25% chance it will be an onyx, 25, 25, which actually adds up to 100%. Which means by the time you've got all 4 of these nodes full, you could be prospecting bismuth and still never get ambers, because 100% of the time it will get converted into something else. But short term, you are going to be focusing on prospect, because you just don't have enough knowledge points to fill all of this yet. Until you do, you're going to want to focus on prospecting a Kyrite or focus on prospecting Iron Claw. That's not my question, it's more general. Prospecting isn't really if you're trying to figure out how your skill affects your prospecting, the easy answer is it doesn't. And you can tell it doesn't because it doesn't show it here. It doesn't have a skill bar. The only thing that benefits your prospecting is the points that you've spent in these nodes down the bottom here and your resourcefulness. Resourcefulness is the only stat that benefits your prospecting. And so it's your prerogative to stack this as high as you can get it. And the way you do that is with your tools and accessories. Namely, these two, because your loops is multi-craft ingenuity. Open the Jawn crafting sub. What? No, you ask the question and I'll answer it. If like. Or DM me on Discord or something like that, because we're clearly not meeting eye to eye on this one. Is that how they did the math? Because statistically, if each one of those has a separate 25% chance, then it would only actually make about a 75% chance for it to be non-amber. Yeah, it's an additive. I don't know exactly how they've coded it behind the scenes, but they do add up. The 25% chances on these add up to 100% chance it will produce one of these gems. Like when we prospected this bismuth here, for example. We prospected bismuth. Bismuth doesn't just gives you ambers, and it doesn't. Yeah, bismuth doesn't naturally give you onyxes or rubies. These have only turned up because they've procced when an amber would have turned up. It's procced and it's turned it into one of these. The fact that these numbers are so wildly different is also quite strange. But But the scenario is by the time you've put 20 points in all 4 of these, you prospect bismuth and you never see ambers, because they'll always turn into something else. That something else should be evenly distributed at 25% each, but on a small sample size of 1,000, you can see it procced 28 times on an onyx and only 7 times on a ruby, which feels weird to me. But, you know, 1,000 ore being prospected is not really statistically enough. It just shows you how wild the swing can be, though, until you're doing it at scale, like ridiculous scale. Let's assume I got 30 points in rings. They increase the skill of the rings, but does crafting amulets in any way take... No, your spec trees, they tell you what they benefit, right? So the skill that you gain from your spec trees is often very situational. So like if you spec into amulets, gain 2 skill to all neck designs per point in this spec. So every point you've spent in here will give you 2 skill when you're crafting an amulet. It's not going to benefit you anywhere else. It's super what I call situational skill. When you're crafting amulets, you get the benefit from this node. There are more general nodes, such as jewel crafting, which is +1 skill to all jewel crafting, all jewelry designs per point in this spec. So this is way more general, which makes the points that you get from here arguably more valuable to you. Because if you put all of your points in amulets and then you want to craft a ring, you're not gaining anything from this. I think that's probably what you're trying to ask, and I hope that at least clarifies a little bit. What you can do, though, if you are trying to figure out how to craft something better than what you're crafting it right now, this is where Craft Sim can really help you, right? So I've selected Masterful Amber here. Craft Sim has a specialization info tab. And so what you can see here is that these are the spec nodes that are going to benefit this craft. So Masterful Amber, the only thing in our spec trees that's going to change the results of your Masterful Amber is points in gem cutting. You can put 50 points in gem cutting, and then that's the most skill you can gain from your spec trees when crafting this specific item. It will also give you multi-craft and resourcefulness at the same time as doing it, because that one node is pretty generic as a node. It gives you base skill, but it sprinkles in some extra stats as well. You could take Gilded Vial, for example, and this then shows that, well, the node shaping is going to give you some skill. You've also got the glasswork node. These are 2 nodes that are going to benefit this craft directly. And until you're not going to be making this 100% optimally until you've done everything over here, for example. So this little crafting spec info, if you're ever confused by the spec trees, is super useful for just like quickly validating where you either might have spent your spec points or where you might want to spend them. It's quite useful. But my #1 rule is always make sure you've thoroughly read what the nodes tell you they're doing first. It's back to my usual concept of I try to persuade everybody to learn how to do it manually, and then if there's an add-on that can make it quick and easy for you to repeat, then maybe quickly and easily repeat it with the add-on. But don't try and learn how a system works via an add-on.
Let's make sweet profit together.
Because then you often miss some basic information. Mosswow with the Prime, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's like the avoidance table for tanking. It's like a hierarchy list where it actually checks 1 by 1, but also removes that much percentage chance too. So prospecting could be something like that. Probably. Well, because you've got to remember how games fundamentally work, right? It's all based on dice rolls, and so there's often a hierarchy of nearly everything that you're doing. So what you'll probably find, and I know this is actually going to be ridiculous, but you'll probably find when prospecting bismuth is that once you've got all of these 4 fully specced into it, you will probably find that there is a slight shift towards one of the colours more so than the others. And that's because, like, it will roll a dice, it will do a 25% chance for it to be an onyx, yes or no. If it's a yes, it makes an onyx. Then it will do a 25% chance, is it a ruby, yes or no. And, you know, it will cycle through them. There's probably going to be some, in the terms of the game coding at least, I suspect, it might mean that one is actually ever so slightly prioritized over the others based on in what order the rolls happen. I don't know how they'll have coded it, honestly, but that's kind of that probably doesn't matter. The variance is probably so slight that most people wouldn't notice it, and by the looks of things, you're not prospecting bismuth either way, so it's not going to make any difference. I hope it's not coded that way. Well, you never know. You never know. I'm sure there are smart people out there that actually dig into these game files and figure all of this stuff out. I'm just speculating. But because you can have different amounts of points in each of these, I've flipping no idea how they look at doing it. Right. We have done some interim prospecting. I have got some data points to go by. I'm going to have to go away and do some smart things and try and put maths to that information so that it becomes useful in some way, shape or form. What I'm going to do now, though, is considering me trying to do smart things on the spreadsheet whilst also live is probably a terrible idea. So we'll put that in the bank for later. What did I buy? I've still got 5,000 bismuth in my bags. Well, I'm sure I'll use it. I'm sure I'll use it for something. Let's actually go check if we've had a new influx of work orders or anything silly. We shouldn't have done. We had a huge amount of them yesterday. What we got going on in there? This looks mostly the same as what I had yesterday. This bloodstone, A, I don't have the recipe. B, it's only an augment rune, so I don't care. The only reason I might care about this, actually thinking about it, is because knowledge points. I'd get a first time craft bonus off that technically if I made it. Yeah, 6,500 plus 12 of these plus one of those is not cheap just to get a first time craft bonus. What? Okay, I'll go look at that in a minute. Engraved gem cutters, 10 artisan security. I'm in the luxurious position right now that I don't have to worry too much about artisan security. I certainly don't have to spend gold getting it. That's outside of maybe a couple of recipes. I don't really need it for much on this dude. You know, I'll stack it up because I'll pick a second profession on this dude. Probably skinning, actually. I'll probably go skinning on most of my characters as a secondary profession. Just for the daily beast fangs. At least on those that are level 80. But I'm not super fussed about trying to pump this to the moon. I mean, I may not... Oh, I don't have any Q3 bismuth. There's a couple of quick emeralds here that are both for artisan security again. The important thing is there's no knowledge points up for grabs here. But there is some artisan security if I kind of want to go get it. But do I want to spend 10k? Do I want to spend whatever this costs to get 30 artisan security? When I don't really need it that much anymore. I don't know. These little bags can be useful, though. I got a nullstone out of one of these little bags yesterday, by the way. Which I was happy to see. I was like, well, there's money. That's going to make these, like, flipping work order, like, mission tables eventually. Alright, let me do a quick... Is there any recipes, namely the PvP recipes, that I can get? Let's see what we're missing.
I have an extended supply of
And to
goods
see if I
for
want to buy it.
Outlanders.
Recipes, jewel crafting. Uncollected, this expansion. Nothing? That's a lie. Nothing is a lie. Oh shit, there's loads of stuff. These, wow, they really are cheap now, aren't they? Item was not found. Oh, okay, it's one of those situations, is it? Oh, it did let me buy one. Okay. Algari Competitor's Amulet. If it's there, I'll have it. It was there. Insightful Blasphemite. This is the last of my Blasphemite cuts then, I guess. Not found. Oh, got it. Okay, nice. Do I want the signet to go with the amulet? Why is Cubic Blasphemer like 20k? Why is that a thing? Can't you buy this from the vendor? You literally buy this for 5k off the vendor. Lol. Why is the beautification iris also massively expensive? I purchased this for 98 gold. Where did the recipe go? Already known by Manthe. I learnt this on another one of my characters. I bought it for 98 gold. It's now 30k. Lol. Okay. Binding of Binding. Big money. People are putting a lot of speculation on this. It's because it drops from the theatre thing, and you get like one go a week sort of thing, and you've got to be level 80. It's expensive because it's rare. It's very expensive because it's rare. I'll eat my hat when this turns out to be the next elemental lariat, but I'm going to be honest, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think it's expensive because it's rare, and it's expensive because there has been hype about it. I'm not convinced I trust the hype. On my server, somebody was trying to sell Binding of Binding recipe for 4 mil. Yeah, I'm not convinced. The restrictions holding it back, I think. Yeah, it's just, you know, not many people have had many opportunities to even get the damn thing. I probably should get my level 80s at least doing that theatre event, just on the off chance. Ignoring patron orders for a second then. How do you get these bloodstone recipes then? Actually, I've just realised I have no idea how you get these recipes. Is the only way to get these from flipping PvP? Is the recipe then not tradable? Is that why they're not on the auction house? Or were they so expensive I didn't even notice it? It is tradable. In essence, I can skip the PvP. Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. First time craft bonuses. Have I never made a prism? I've apparently never made a prism. Do I make my first prism with... Do I make my first prism with concentration just to get it at Q3? Although a Q2 prism also seems to be just as valuable. And why use expensive mats if I can use cheap mats? First time craft bonus all the same. I've never made a quick emerald apparently. Never made a quick emerald. Q3, these are down to 8k apparently. Predominantly because of all of these crushed gemstones. Do we go... I mean, for our first time crafts... Fuck me! 448 concentration? Dear Lord, I was about to say, shall I make one of these with concentration just to sell it? And then I suddenly realised how much... 2 days worth of concentration? When craft orders are turning up flipping... No, I'm saving my concentration for knowledge points, please, game. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Can I get that to a more respectable number? 250? What if I use a gem cutter at Q3? Can I make gem cutters at Q3? Not without concentration. What's a gem cutter at quality 3 going to cost me? 600 gold? Alright, let's think about this for a minute.
I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
Spent a few hours in BGs and I've only got 1 bloodstone. I might have to do some PvP, you know. Might have to do some PvP just to get a little bit of this up and running. There were the 5, 10, 20 skill things too. Yeah, on anything where I can use those, they're an advantage. I'm way too far away though. I'll just buy one of these quickly. I have a very simple rule in life. If I can buy it with gold, I buy it with gold. Concentration is only for those scenarios where I absolutely can't buy my way to success. In fact, there was a couple of gems I needed these for. Let's buy another one. I think the honor recipes were about 25k when I looked this morning. I'm also not. I also don't object to flying around a few different servers to go get one as well. If we can get one on the cheap from some random ass server, I can theoretically do the same. Now the auction house actually works, there might not be so many ghost. Oh yeah, look, here are the bloodstone recipes. Sheesh, Louise. Look at the value of these things. Dear Lord. PvPers are making money right now. PvPs are making money. 7.5k honor for like 150k for a recipe. Sheesh. Damn, son. Like I said, we could probably go scout other places to get one of those cheaper. I'm not worried for now. First craft bonuses. This silly emerald business. Okay, I still can't get this even within, like... That's still an entire day's worth of concentration. If I was capped at concentration, I might consider it. But otherwise, I'm just going to craft one with cheap mats. We can go Q1. We can go Q1. Do I just produce a really cheap one, or do I maybe use Q2 here to make the gem at Q2 at least? That's probably damage limitation. That we can probably sell. I mean, not that I trust TSM values, but that's nearly profitable anyway. Hello? Material optimization. Best combo assigned. Go on, give me a cheeky... we've only got 3% multi-craft. There's no way that that's profitable or whatever. We'll go put that on the auction house in a minute. A Masterful Onyx, same scenario. Use cheap shit. Probably use Q2 Dust. Use a basic one. Make one at Q2. Go. We need some Blasphemite cuts. Same scenario. Q2 in the middle here. Q2 in the middle with a little bit, with a kicker of Q3 by the looks of things. Oh, is this going to mean that we can get one at quality 2 at the cheapest possible price? Which actually then means we might squeeze a profit out of one of these, but probably not. Are you using TSM right now? Or are you using... Is this using TSM or is this... Okay, I think I've got this set to use auctionator prices. Which means I need to update my auctionator prices.
I have an extended
That said, it's probably more reliable to use TSM data now. I wonder if there's a system that forces one of the patron work orders being from a recipe that you do not have. That would have been, it's not a good idea to learn easy to get recipes to maximize the chance to do it. I am not convinced there's anything even remotely smart about the patron order system. Every time I've looked at the patron order system in any level of detail, I have absolutely never seen anything clever about it whatsoever. Literally every time I'm like, this is just random. This is just random, especially because I'm in a nice position where I get lots of people telling me what their orders have been. I get some people that are telling me that they've been able to fill all of them and have made $1 billion gold off them, and I get some people that are telling me that they can't fill a single goddamn one, which very quickly lets me know it's stupid level random. I'm not convinced that there's any smarts behind the scenes. Same mix from last week, love it. Can you link it? Oh, you're talking about the tunes. This is literally just a 90s dance playlist. Sorry, no, 2000s dance hits. I mean, I can absolutely link it to you. Hang on. Share, copy link. I need to figure out how to make that a command. I need to figure out how I can link my Spotify playlist. I've obviously got this thing down here that tells you the track that's playing, but I need to figure out how somebody can just do a command and it gives them the playlist. That'd be clever. I shuffled into alchemy yesterday, and off the bat, first 4 crafting orders were healing potions out of 8. Okay, nice. You take those wins when they come. Seems like there should be about triple the patron orders then to help balance the RNG. I'm actually already pretty surprised just how many they have given us. We saw roughly this many on the beta, and I was like, this is clearly like a catch-up thing, but to get like 5 to 10 patron orders like twice a week in the first week is actually pretty surprising. I was expecting like 2 or 3, and you might be able to complete 1, maybe 2 of them, but this also means that you're getting anywhere between 10 to 20 knowledge points a week from your patron orders, which literally means it's double. It could potentially double the amount of knowledge points you'd naturally get each week. Doing your weekly stuff, so like your treasures and your scribe book and all of that sort of stuff, is just that's just busy work, right? That's the busy work. You can get 10 to 15 knowledge points for most professions by doing that busy work. But you could get the same again, maybe even more, if you did your patron orders on top of that. So they've clearly gone, this is a new system. We want people to use it. Let's make it really worthwhile, people using it. I think. How do you level jewel crafting to 100 when you're specting to prospecting or crushing? You're going to have to get one of the blasphemite recipes and then craft it a bunch. You can either get the recipe by farming some specific dungeons, or you can just buy it off the auction house if you're willing to pay. Be aware though, it's still not a cheap route to go. I'm just waiting for this scan to finish right now. I don't usually do these full scans with Auctionator, but considering my craft sim is currently set up to use Auctionator prices rather than TSMs, I should probably make sure it's got mostly up-to-date info, although it changes minute by minute. It feels so odd doing a full auction house scan, you know. I've not done this in 5, 10 years. Right, is the scan finished? Oh, it has finished. Okay, cool. That should have at least given me some data. I have no idea what the flipping hell I was doing prior to this. Oh, I know what I was doing. Quick emeralds. Let's see what the prices are like on these. Everything I look into, rank 3 gems or rank 3 cursed ring enchants, are currently selling at a loss. Will mats go down or prices go up enough to make profit when season 1 begins? Prices of most things tend to follow whatever the demand for the item is. How many people do you think are super focused on buying rank 3 gems or buying rank 3 enchants right now? Not many. Yet there's an awful lot of people that have done everything in their power to get to the point where they can craft them, so Once there's more people out there that are potentially looking at buying them, there is the chance. It's mostly a guessing game, to be fair. If this is... Okay, so now that's got all of the right details there. Not that I'm looking to craft these, but I'm just trying to check how my craft sim is up and running. So now it can do a price optimization on these, saying you're better off using some of these, well, mostly these, but then some of these, and then that's the best combo, and that allows you to make a Q2 version of these at the cheapest possible price. But the point here is that it is still not profitable for me to do, because my prices are ludicrously far off, because I've not spec'd into making these. But it's the best way of making it with the least damage, I guess. So if we go price details, I'm at a point where if I make quality 3, I make a profit, but on quality 1s and 2s, I'm always going to take a loss, because I've not spec'd into them. But this is the way of making the least loss, if that makes sense. Damage limitation is crafting it this way, which is what I'm doing at the moment for these first time crafts. But at least it gives me a quick emerald at Q2, which we can slam on the auction house. Not for anywhere near 2,850 though, which TSM claims. Not anywhere even remotely close. But right, let's look at Masterful Onyx in the same scenario. There's profit in making Q3s as and where you can. But the optimal way for me to make them reaching quality 2 right now, because I can only get rank 3 with concentration, the optimal route for me to go is to make one of these at Q2 with a kicker of Q1 dust again. This is quite clever, you know, of Craft Sim. The material optimization, because of course you don't need to use all the same quality. All you need to do is reach a threshold. And so sometimes you can actually do split materials in a way to optimize your prices. So that's the best way of making a quality 2 variation of this, and would in theory cost me the least, which is what I'm actually doing, but I've already done that. So now we can just go and sell this. It cost us 2,600-ish to craft it. Selling it for 1,500 right now is only going to cost us 1,000 for that first time craft. I mean, I could in theory throw it in here and hope it sells and we break even, but as it stands for now, I'd rather just get rid of it, because I'm not spec'd into making gems anyway. So if we now go first craft bonus, I still need to make a culminating blasphemite. I am in no way, shape or form capable of making these at any reasonable price, but let's do a search to update the prices here. Some professions benefit from patron orders more than others. Enchanting patron orders are really boring. I don't think I've seen a single knowledge point from it. No, enchanting is predominantly considered a gathering profession. You disenchant stuff and you get your knowledge points that way with enchanting, which means it's a very, very, very fixed amount of knowledge points from enchanting. Those enchanting patron orders, though, are money in regards to artisan security. You might not get many of them, but they often give you like a good bunch of artisan security. I've actually been using concentration on most of those just to get the artisan security from them. On enchanting, that is. So here, the optimal way to lose the least, because I can't produce one at Q3. Well, I could, in theory, with concentration, produce one at quality 3. It would take me 400 concentration. I could make it, and I would, in theory, be able to go out there and sell it for 13,500 potentially. But it's going to consume nearly 2 days of concentration for one first-time craft bonus. Whereas I'd rather save that concentration and use it on a work order that might give me 2 knowledge points. So, I just want to make it at Q2 as cheap as possible, which is using mostly these, but with some of these, and then using a Q2 one of these. Now we're optimized. Is that an optimized way? Oh no, because I've still got concentration assigned. That's the optimal way to make one at Q2. Still going to cost us 3,600. But at least when we go and sell it, we will... You're missing one or more required materials? What am I missing? Oh, the flipping jeweler's bench. Christ on a bicycle.
Return and peruse my inventory.
Gathering skills, like 7 a week from yeah, you don't get much from gathering. Not directly. If you're going double gathering, what you might potentially do is actually, well, if you're going double gathering, what you should probably look at doing is quad gathering. Now, you've only got 2 primary profession slots mined, but quad gathering is still technically possible. So, I wanted to put this in a video, actually, because this is a way for gatherers to get more artisan security without it really costing them. So, you would prioritize probably herbalism and mining, but what you would do is at the beginning of the week, you would drop or once you've done your weeklies for herbalism and mining, you drop them, and you'd take skinning and you'd take enchanting. You'd then go out and do your skinning weeklies, because don't forget, you lose your 1 to 100 progression when you drop a profession, but you keep the knowledge points and you keep where you've spent your knowledge points. So you'll still be able to go back to herbalism and mining and still have everything in the same place as it was before. You'll just have to level to 100 again quickly. It basically means your first hour of leveling up that profession will be suboptimal. But that will be counteracted by the fact that you'll be able to pick skinning and enchanting, disenchant a bunch of shit for its free knowledge points. Maybe look at doing enchanting's patron orders, because with concentration they're really quite easy and not too expensive. That's going to be a nice flow of artisan security for your gathering character. And skinning is just skinning. Do skinning, right? And then once you're done mini shuffling, skinning and enchanting, you drop those and pick herbalism and gathering back up, and then do as much farming that week as you then want. And you'd repeat that cycle every week, and that would get you the most artisan security on a herbalist miner without you kind of doing anything too expensive. And that would really quickly push you ahead of most people that are just going to have herbalism and mining and never change that. Because even those people who have herbalism and mining, they're going to get very little artisan security. And if you can get your herbalist and miners with blue profession tools, well, actually, your profession tools are probably less lucrative than actually getting the knowledge points at this point. 750 artisan security to get you like 45 knowledge points is actually massive for gatherers right now. That's basically filling an entire node. Leveling herbalism and mining super easy and lucrative. I can definitely see quad gathering being worthwhile. Yeah. It's super toxic that Blizzard has designed professions to encourage the activity, though. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it because it means if you've got any past history with those characters, you're basically putting it in the bin. But that is the way to do it right now. And I'm claiming it. I'm claiming the phrase quad gathering. So when everybody talks about quad gathering in a couple of weeks, you know where it came from. People asking for an arm and a leg for enchanting rank 5 tool. Apparently you can't do it without 600 concentration. Some people won't be able to. Who makes the enchanting rank 5 tool? Oh, enchanters make that themselves, right? Enchanters make their own tool. Oh, and they get an epic one too. It costs even more, doesn't it? Does it cost 350 artisan security, that one? I've got all rank 5 tools for enchanting. It was fun and 2 mil down the drain. Oh, is it 400 artisan security? The blue one... Didn't they... Okay. I know they made changes to that late in the day. You have to buy it with 150 artisan security, and then it's 400 to craft it. 400, 550. And you can still do it. If you're an enchanter that's profession shuffled, you can still make it yourself. But that is assuming that you're then also spec'd into making that. I can see why people are charging an arm and a leg. Because you have to have mostly hyper-optimized your entire profession to make that one item for other enchanters. So you've put people are going to be charging 100k, 200k to craft that at Q5, simply because there's no. They're making their investment back. That's what they're doing there. They'll have spent 2 million gold to get to the point where they can do it. So they're going to charge the first 10 people 250k to make their money back. Funny, I don't see any copyright or trademark. Yoink. Ah, well, we'll see. Clipped and shipped, eh? I've been tempted to drop mining to get the artisan security from other gathering professions. It's possible. Acuity is just crafting stuff for ourselves. Because I just see that I can use it when I want something crafted for me. Acuity is your profession's general, somewhat limited resource. It goes into making your tools, it goes into buying knowledge point books, it goes into buying recipes from time to time. Is it worth getting a tailor that can make epic cloaks? But everybody needs a cloak, right? How would you set that up? You'd level tailoring, and you'd spec into the cloak node. I can't remember in more detail than that, unfortunately, right now, but... What would you say is the easiest profession from inscription, enchanting, tailoring, alchemy to make some gold long-term? Or is it just farming, herb, mining more reliable? Farming is always 100% more reliable because you've got zero risk. Professions, you are subject to costs and profit margins. If your costs are too high, you don't have profit margins. So that's the risk you always have with crafting professions. The advantage though is that the ceiling for opportunity with crafting professions is much higher. You can make tens of millions of gold potentially with crafting professions if you know what you're doing and you do it first and you do it well. The opportunity to make ridiculous gold is there with crafting professions. Herbalism and mining and gathering in general doesn't have the same earning opportunity, but you have to take no risk. The more you go and farm something, the more gold you make. It's a very easy, simple transaction. But when it comes to which profession's the easiest to make gold from long term, who knows? You need a crystal ball for that at this point. The game's been out a week. We don't know. All the characters I play are gatherers. All my crafters are just unplayed alts. I mean, that's usually a good way to do it. A character that spends a lot of time in the open world or in the instances or doing something, put professions on them that, you know, allows you to make a bit of bonus income when you're doing stuff. That definitely works. Right, let's make one of these in the most optimal way then. So 8 of those, 16 of those, and then 1 of those will give us a Q2 Blasphemite, which still unfortunately is going to cost us a bunch of gold to make, but it's damage limitation. And we get our first time craft bonus. Same scenario here. We're going to go big in the middle with a few up here. And 1 of those to get it at Q2. Still not going to be able to sell it for much, mind, but something is better than nothing. And we get our first time craft bonus. Alngari Amber Prism. Have I literally never made one of these? That's hysterical. It's recommending Q2 Gem Dust in a Q1 Prism. I don't want to press this button. This is a bait button. These prisms are too expensive. Inverted prism. They're too expensive because of these flipping Null Lotus I don't have enough of. Can I just buy an inverted prism on the cheap? Whoa, hang on. Inverted prisms are profit? No way. No way. What's with the glass price on EU? Alchemists have started buying vials, which has jacked up the price.
I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
I'm not looking at mass producing these anytime soon, so let's just get something back for it if we can. Flipping Lord, what is with these crazy ass undercuts? Whatever. I need some of you. Ha! Q2 versions are cheaper than Q1s. Is that because there's a bait price going on somewhere here? 3,000 is actually the minimum price. Can actually get one of those at 2.5. Why did I buy that? I can't remember why I bought that. Oh yeah, I bought that to make this thing, didn't I? I technically already had it. Alright, whatever.
I have an extended supply of goods for Outlanders.
Yesterday, glass was up to 890 gold. I guess somebody bought a large amount without reading the red text stating that the price had increased. Yeah, I really worry how many people did that. I seriously worry how many people did that. As I think, with how broken the auction house was, I think it was really easy to accidentally spend all of your gold on something, and I reckon a lot of people probably did it. Did they fix the auction house? Are we still playing beta? The auction house is better. I'm not going to use the word fixed because I don't believe it. It's already crashed a couple of times today, but it is at least better. Whatever they did has improved, but it's... yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So crafting these, by the looks of things, we can produce them at quality 5 if we so choose. We need some marbled stone. We need 3 of these competitors' heraldries. Well, we've got some of those already. We need a vicious bloodstone. Give me 1 of you. We need a null stone. The duct tape holding the servers isn't going to hold much longer. Well, for as long as it holds, we'll use it. And we need some marbled stone. And apparently the game is claiming I should probably use Q2, but that's only because Q2 is cheaper than Q1. Lol. 40 marble stone. Okay, let's get those crafted then. You should get a marble or stone slab for the doggos to lay on. I bet they unironically like laying on it because it's nice and cool all the time. Yeah, you're right. My dogs do enjoy lying on cold floors from time to time, especially this one because she's super duper mega fluffy. This is why, unironically, in the winter sometimes they're more uncomfortable because all of our entire house has underfloor heating. So in the winter when the underfloor heating is on, the floors are never cold, even though we've got like tiles in some rooms, for example. We've got hardwood flooring throughout the entire house. But in the winter, the floors are never actually cold. Meaning sometimes in the winter, when they're in the house, they actually find it difficult to find a spot to stay cool. One of you. That's the cheapest way to waste money on an Aungari Amber Prism. Sure. 2,800 gold to craft this stupid thing. $2,800 gold. What did it give us? I didn't even see what it gave me. It gave me 11 ambers for a combined price of 400 gold. What an absolute shit show. This amulet though, mind. 1 of you. Some of you. Theoretically profit in this thing. I say theoretically because we'll still yet to sell it. But it's our first time craft bonus. The irony is I should probably put it on myself. Is the jewel crafting bag useful for my build? Good point. I don't have it. I don't have 150 artisan security. That's probably where I'll spend my next 150 artisan security, actually.
My directive is to serve you.
You shit me? These are crazy expensive. These are outrageously expensive. What did mine roll? Verse Mastery. That's probably money, isn't it? I don't know. Whatever. In you go. Money is money. Marble is fairly cheap, like about $100. Probably could get you a nice cut-out dog bed size slab. Then you could say your dog sleeps on only the finest marble beds. Where do you come from where marble is cheap? Marble's outrageously expensive. You know, it all comes from it. If you're Italian, it's probably cheap. Because you've got marble mines. But flipping anywhere else, it's mad money. Unless I've been lied to all these years. I've never considered marble even remotely cheap. I was going to look into the jewel crafting bag, wasn't I? What does that even consist of these days?
I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
Profession equipment, no. Bags, containers, bag. Which one is it? Jeweler's purse. Increases the maximum yield of crushed gemstones from Angari crushing by 1. Oh yeah, that's potentially money then, that is. That's potentially money. Maybe I should get one of those made. I went profession tools on my blacksmith to make my tools for the other character. How does one max out the skill though? Everything's so expensive. Any tips? I can't remember exactly what the nodes are in blacksmithing to benefit your tools. But you want the 100 plus 40 base build. Then you're going to want to spend a bunch of points somewhere. I just can't remember where those points are without looking. I've literally got 3x3 pieces of cut marble for free. Marble countertops for only a few thousand. I guess I just live in a marble utopia. Yeah, there you go. You must do. In the end, it's about 8% more dust. Yeah, maximum yield by 1. It's not a guaranteed +1. That's going to take it from like 10 to 11 or something then, isn't it? Yeah. I saw a documentary about how they mine Italian marble. It said it can be sold for more than gold at some points. I mean, probably. I've always thought marble as being super expensive. I need 150 artisan security then to get one of these bags made. I'm not far off. I'm 125. I'm not going to go too far out of my way to get one though. Although it would definitely be of some value to do it. I gained a few knowledge points there though. The question is do I want to spend them anywhere? I was kind of thinking about going into glass. Like, I need to make a decision now. Do I go into glasswork? Just because I can probably then... going into glasswork for me gives me a path to... It gives me a path to making these gilded vials at top quality as well. Which gives me a use for my glittering glass, and it gives me a use for any occasional ambers rather than just selling them. I'm not sure what the gilded vial market's going to do though. I'm really not sure what the market's going to do, because one thing I don't think is being considered too heavily is that people are going to get refunded their vials. When you consume a rank 3 potion or a rank 3 flask, there is the chance for you for the vial to be refunded, I believe. Now you might have to be an alchemist for that to be a thing. I can't quite remember. This is my brain working overtime here. Now those alchemists getting refunded their potions and vials might mean that there's a lot of random strays on the auction house. Will they be refunded as rank 3s? That's also a good question. I don't know. Isn't that only with the Alchemist talent tree, I'm pretty sure? Maybe. Gilded Vials is already over as well. Sadly, prices are bad right now. Yeah, I imagine they're probably not great, but I equally am not sure how many alchemists have going to really ramped up their operation yet. And whether they're theoretically waiting for Gilded Vials to come down in price. I would need to throw... It's a full 15 points in here, isn't it? It's a full 15 points in here. And it's then capping this at 30. Which is, unfortunately at the moment, still out of my range. I could cap shaping, sure. But then I'd need the 15 points for glasswork. Am I going to be better off just taking these points and putting them in emeralds and sapphires instead? I'm not sure. As I'm now at the point where I don't really have more knowledge points from dual crafting, even if I try. I've harvested first time craft bonuses. I am clearly missing recipes. Teaches you the recipe for the elemental focus lens. Check the poor glittering glass price on the auction house before you throw in your knowledge points. Oh yeah, it's gone to the. It's so spiky. It keeps going to the moon, and then somebody comes in and dumps a huge amount on the auction house, and then it tanks, and then it goes back up again. So, yeah, I'm not convinced it's the right decision to make. I'm not even just convinced it's a decision to make, honestly. 400 gold a piece right now on the Q3s, but glass is up to 200 gold a piece. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make any sense. That literally doesn't make any sense. There's no way glass should be 200 gold a piece when vials are selling at 400. You need flipping 6 pieces of glass to get 5 vials max. You're going to have resourcefulness and multi-craft going burr. That's actually a point. This is actually then a very heavily multi-craft focused adventure. One which I wouldn't be particularly good at because my tool is built out for resourcefulness. So maybe I am best sticking in my lane and just sticking with prospecting. Cap out prospecting as fast as I can. Get to the point where maybe I can prospect bismuth and just lol all the way to the bank. Because I still think that's bismuth is only really poor for prospecting, I think, until you get all 40 points in here. Sorry, all 80 points in here. I think if you can get all these 80 points, you start to be able to prospect bismuth. The downside is that bismuth is just not priced sensibly. So I don't even know. I might just hang fire on these points and decide where I want to spend them. I don't know why I've put 20 points in here, honestly. Because I didn't really need to put 20 points in here. Did I do it for the resourcefulness, maybe? A bit of multi-craft when crafting reagents. Sub-spec. I don't know why I put 20 points in here. I guess I'd have needed to if I wanted to go in this direction. What does masonry do? Crafting stone stuff? That's literally marble stone. That's it, isn't it? Is that it? Masonry. Masonry and engraved gem cutters. I mean, everybody's going to need their rank 3 gem cutters, I suppose, but that would have maybe almost have been a better route. But I seem to have unlocked this now, so I've shot myself in the foot somehow. I'd need to cap this. I don't know. Not enough knowledge points. I need more knowledge points. 40, 80, 100, 110 knowledge points. Rookie numbers. Absolute rookie numbers. I need more. Give me more. I actually think, unironically, next week, you could probably nearly fill this flipping tree. With reset, there's reset, patron orders coming at you from every direction. I think we're gaining knowledge points much faster than we did in Dragonflight. You used the points yesterday to make Vile rank 2s for a patron order. Is that what I did? I guess it's because my theory is to fill this tree before I go anywhere else. There's no reason for me to really go anywhere else until I've filled this tree, so... Alright. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm about done on this jewel crafting dude, you know. I don't think there's too much more I can do right now. Until I've got my data points sorted for prospecting, I can't really be mass prospecting stuff because I don't know what's the play. So maybe we go check some other tunes. What sort of price is normal for a sky golem? No idea. Absolutely no idea. You used to be able to make sky golems at about 40, 50k a piece, but I couldn't tell you today. No idea. Good idea focusing on something that's totally out there, though. I wouldn't be too surprised if sky golems have gone to the moon. Sky golems are... there'll be a lot of people that will have picked them up. They tend to do reasonably well at the beginning of an expansion. I have, though, unfortunately, made the horrible mistake previously of purchasing a few prior to an expansion's launch on the assumption that they might jack up in value, but it didn't go to plan. Too many druids. Too many druids that don't need sky golems. Right, this dude is a blacksmith. Let's go check our order table situation. See what's up with blacksmithing. See if there's anything that is popped up that's worth playing with. We can close that for now. We can close that for now. Let's keep the bonus windows to a minimum. Crafting orders. Any goodies? Nada. Oh, 10 patron orders. Okay, well that's got to be more than there was yesterday. Sure. What have we got here then? Plate, breastplate. Don't actually have the recipe for that, but it's only an augment rune, so I don't care. Blacksmith's toolbox. I've got the recipe for this. Still only an augment rune, so I still don't really care. Sickle. Knowledge point. 2 knowledge here. Providing all the good stuff. Ha. I don't have the recipe. Maybe not then. I'm not at the point on this blacksmith either when I can go and willingly spend artisan security anywhere. I still need artisan security for knowledge points. Let's filter out then unlearned stuff. Haha, that changes the game very quickly, doesn't it? Ironclaw axes, artisan security, artisan security, artisan security. So no knowledge available. What about making these? Can't do that because I haven't got the embellishment unlocked. Which means I won't be able to do that one because it's locked again. Oh, maybe these are the same as yesterday. Maybe I was just really unlucky with all of these yesterday. You provided the null stone. Well, if you provide a null stone, then we'll have a go. 10 knowledge points. I think you get 1 new patron order every day, by the way. I'm almost convinced you get one new patron order every day. And twice a week you get a splurge of them. Once on reset. And was it Saturday? Was it Saturday or was it... When was it we got a splurge of them? I've lost track of the days right now. You seem to have 2 orders that expire every day, and you seem to get 2 every day. Is that how it feels like? I've not focused on one profession enough to spot the patterns yet. What do I need? I need a core alloy. Forge away. Go on, resourcefulness. Go on, resourcefulness. Give me that null lotus. Give me that null lotus. Oh! Money! So I've just woken both of my dogs. Money! Give me that free null lotus. Yoink. Okay. Sorry, null stone even. Not even a null lotus. Not even a null lotus. The big boy null stone. Right, let's go see if there's any money to be made with blacksmithing. How much artisan's acuity have I got on this dude? 116. I'm miles away from getting the knowledge point books on this fella. That's also probably going to mean my ever-burning ignition is not particularly very juicy. Which, if that's the case, means my ingot crafting adventures are probably not going to be great either. Wait, what? Why can't I have both open at once? Oi, game. Oh, for God's sake. This is that stupid Blizz move thing. Somebody knows where do I get the profession knowledge from the Assembly Renown at level 12? Assembly of the Deeps. It's the waxy dude. It's from here. You come in on the Flight Master and he's lurking down here somewhere. He's the quartermaster's like just lurking outside. I'm pretty sure.
My directive is to serve you.
Okay, is there money anywhere here? Let's have a look. Core alloys. What's the cash money on core alloys? Shit, the bed. Down to 1,758 gold on a rank 3 core alloy. Damn, son. That's presumably with bismuth ore being a touch cheaper. Now, it's break-even prices as it stands here. Well, technically, we're in the hole for every craft, but with an ever-burning ignition, we'll get a little bit more juice. So it means we'll probably make a profit, but we're breaking even at best. Which means if you're breaking even at best, why bother? And there's quantity available there at that price as well, so not really that interested. What's bismuth looking like? 37 gold a piece. We're still probably... it looks like we're still feeling the effects of the auction house being back up and people dumping their stuff on the market. There seems to be quite many dribs and drabs. But I also reckon... okay, there's some big chunks at like 45. I also kind of reckon that... I mean, there's only half a million bismuth or 20 million worth of stock. before it starts getting back to where it was before. So that's probably the influx of new stuff right now. I reckon by the end of the day, there's a chance that'll have been absorbed back into the system. Flipping people doing their enchanting all day long is going to hoover up. You telling me you telling me all those disenchanters out there aren't going to hoover up 500,000 bismuth today? The question is how much more is going to turn up later in the day. Okay, so we're probably at a loss on the the core alloys. That's not a problem. What's the situation if we look at tinkering over here? Oh, I haven't got any Q3 alloys on me. I can't quickly at a glance see what's going on here. Core alloys at Q3, 5,600 a piece. 5,600 a piece. Claims they're profitable at 5,600 a piece. Sorry, 3,600 a piece. I'm not totally convinced that's true. Is this a bait price? That's pretty reliant at 3,500, 3,600 a piece. Out of curiosity, $17.58 a piece. They are the right price. I'm being super cautious not to get scuffed up by flipping ghost auctions. Let's grab those real quick. I just want those to simulate the right prices. 11% margin potentially in an alloy, an Ironclaw alloy. That's not great, is it? That's putting a lot of emphasis. 11% margins, putting an awful lot of emphasis on getting the right side of RNG. Not convinced that that's a play right now. It's Monday, people are back at work, there'll be more dumping at sort of 5 to 8 PM. True, yeah, there will be. Okay, I'm going to say that Ironclaw's probably a swing and a miss right now. Is there any play on things like crystalline powder? 267,000 a day is being sold according to TSM. There's about 2 days worth of supply on the auction house. And there's flipping bajillions of the stuff. So that's not going anywhere anytime soon. Alright, what about charged alloys? Not as popular for my early testing of the old charged alloys. Don't necessarily know why. Okay, looks like we're in a similar position with those. That they're probably no money in those at all at Top Crafts. Why do these numbers not correlate with these numbers half the time? How can it both be not a profit and profit? How can it say 11% up and 400 down over here? Okay, either way. Margin's too skinny for me to worry about these right now. If I saw them going up in value, if I could see them going up in price, I might craft a few ahead of time, but I'm not convinced. I also suspect that these are sorts of markets where a lot of people will just dump their stock to sell out from the last couple of days as well. What about sanctified alloy? The sanctified alloys are going to be in the bin today, aren't they? Because of this flipping tinderbox rubbish going on. Tinderbox hype is going to have jacked up the price of making these. More simultaneously, the amount of sanctified alloys. Is there literally only 1,000 sanctified alloys on the of each quality on the entire region? That is mental, source. That's outrageous. Clearly, because people have been put off making any because of these pissing things. The fact that there's like less than a gold cap worth of sanctified alloys is really funny. You could buy out the entire market for less than a gold cap right now. It'd be mental to do it, mind. But even if it was like... even for an hour... In fact, based upon the current prices of tinder boxes, that's not actually that stupid. I'm not going to do this myself, but I just want to highlight the fact that this is not that ludicrous. Because you'd be buying them at 5,300 a piece. You'd be resetting the market on them, but nobody's able to turn up and craft them for much less than 11k right now. Because the price of tinderboxes is spiked through the roof. Do it for content? No. I've fallen for that trap before. I've fallen for that trap before, but like theoretically, these are super duper hyped at the moment. So I'll leave it for somebody else to do silliness on that. But that's quite funny. Are we doing a Dracothis 2.0? It's a diamond-shaped trap. This is the sort, like, you want to start looking for things like this though, because I shit you not, when the season starts, that sort of stuff will happen, and it will happen a lot, because there'll be nothing most people can do about it. If you can reset a market and still be posting them for less than half the current crafting cost, like, there's opportunities there. It's only because these things are stupid right now. These things are turning into the new flipping what if we had Cobra skins, or what was that necklace business? A new YouTube short series from gold cap to zero in one press of a button. In one press of a button. 11k to craft, but it gives you 2 alloys per craft, so it's actually 11k crafting cost divided by 2. Yeah, I know, and then you've obviously got all your resourcefulness and multi-craft and stuff. This is my point. This is why it's you know, there's more to it than that, and is why I'm not doing anything silly. But I just want to highlight the fact that it's these things will be these things will be done quite a lot, I think. Once we're closer to the season, there's no serious demand on these right now, so it's no biggie. But it's good info for me that materials are so loopy today that doing much dedicated crafting to sell today doesn't seem to be super worth it. I might look later today, see what the prices of materials do, and maybe buy up some mats to do some crafting for the next couple of days. But right now, there's not really too much worth in taking the risk. I really wonder if they'll buff the tinderbox drop rate. I don't know if they need to. I mean, there's 3,800 listed here. That's enough to double the supply of sanctified alloys, quadruple the supply of sanctified alloy. I know that's not the only place they're used, but they have done it in the past if it becomes really problematic. But what the orb thing they did it on. But I don't know. Okay, well, all I know is I'm not playing with blacksmithing right now, so we can move on. This is the advantage of having multiple characters at a reasonably high point, is that if something's not viable, just move on. Just do something else. Just head to the next character, go again. I don't have to push, and I don't have to take significant risks with each one. I can somewhat comfortably pick and choose my battles. And if anything, I'm getting more of a... Now that the auction house is back up and running, it's nice to actually get some price info on some stuff again. Because it's been a bit wild the last few days, and I've been guessing with a lot of my numbers. Wow, look at the prices of Duskweave and Dawnweave. Sheesh! They've got to be bait prices, right? Oh my god, they're not. Oh dear. Flipping hell, what happened to the cloth markets? Look at this, 42,000! Look at the stacks on these. There's no way there's enough of this stuff that's going to go anywhere anytime soon. That's gone from like 50 gold a piece to 4 gold a piece overnight. Damn, son. The Nerubian farm is crushing the cloth. Everyone and their mother's farming cloth. Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. Right, so you ain't going to be buying your weaver thread, your spools of weaver thread, to make weaver cloth bolts. Rank 3 weaver cloth bolts are 6 gold a piece on the auction house. All my days. This tailor is in the bin. You know why? Because I went into unraveling. So what's weaver cloth at? What's basic ass weaver cloth at? What? How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense whatsoever? Well, it makes sense because farmers are getting weaver cloth bolts dropping, not just the weaver cloth. That's crazy. If I remember right, you are looking at 3 pieces of cloth to 1 bolt, if you're actually making it, by the way. If you're buying your cloth, you're unraveling it to get the spools, and then you're combining it with mosswool thread to make the bolts. You're looking at somewhere in the region. My rough numbers from doing this a few days ago is you need 3 pieces of cloth to make 1 bolt. Whereas at the moment, it's the other way around. You can get 3 bolts for the cost of 1 cloth. It's literally a multiple in the wrong direction. Nice. Nice. Well, that's going to have some interesting effect on this market as well then, isn't it? What's the exquisite weaver cloth bolt market looking like today? Wrecked, I imagine. Weaver cloth price is tied to Stormdust and Bismuth and Mycobloom. Weaver cloth is higher because of thaumaturgy. Maybe. It shuffles into the Bismuth and the Stormdust. The bolts become pretty worthless. Clever. This happened when market isn't fixing. It seems farmers didn't want to sell cloth before market has been fixed. Yeah, the auction house being like unreliable the last few days has clearly meant that farmers have just got bags and bags and bags of stuff from over the weekend, and they'll just dump it all in one go. Just get it gone. Nuke it hard. Q3 Storm Dust down to 250 a piece. Q3 Storm Dust down to 250 a piece. You can buy your bolts basically for free. Slap some moss wool thread on it. And then you have I have a 266 crafting cost, give or take, on an exquisite weaver cloth bolt, and they sell for 275. And there was probably tens of thousands of these already. Look. Sheesh. It's almost foolish not to, isn't it? Less than 8 gold apiece. See what we can do here. Make a few of these weaver cloth bolts real fast. Not that I think there's a huge amount of money in these, but something's better than nothing. What do we invest there? 260. Let's see what we can turn 260 into. Q3 Gleaming Shards went from a steady 430-ish down to 180 now, and still falling after the auction house was quote-unquote fixed. Well, yeah, it's no surprise that people were both not sure what to post things for on the auction house, so they just didn't. Which meant that, you know, that there's basically an entire weekend's worth of stock just lying about right now. From anybody that's farmed anything, or from anybody that's shuffled anything, there's a good chance that those people didn't stop doing what they were doing. They just didn't sell it. It was such a ball ache over the last few days to post anything on the auction house. And not only posting on the auction house, like, if you did put something on the auction house, it was basically 12 hours before you, 1, knew if it sold, 2, knew if it was undercut, or 3, got it back in your mailbox. You were posting completely blind, so it's no surprise people just didn't bother. And now we've got an entire weekend's worth of farm stuff hitting the auction house. Prices are clearly tanking. If cloth is down, how are bags? We'll have a look in a minute. Let me just craft up a few of these, see if we can squeeze some profit out of these exquisite bolts. I'm not sure we'll make much out of these, if anything, but this processing alone is time consuming. This actually causes lag if we leave this open, so let's close that. The less you have going on screen, the faster the craft times actually go. Oh, can I not type in more than a 3-digit number in here? Can I do 900? Yeah, go. Do it. Right, these are going to take a few minutes to process, so I'm going to take a quick break for 2 minutes, stretch my legs, grab a drink, maybe take a bathroom break real quick whilst these are doing, and then once we've got a bunch of these crafted, we'll throw them up, see what we can do, and we'll maybe move on to the next market, back in 2. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, somebody keeps asking questions on Twitch in Russian, and if you speak Russian and can translate for me, I have no idea what they're saying. But I do not speak Russian, so I have no. I'm also assuming it's Russian. Mr. Norton, you're going to have to be my translator, my friend. Oh, yes, we all know some of the basic words, don't we? Is Wowhead down for anybody else? Is even Wowhead down now? Oh, it is. Wowhead's dead. Lol. Somebody broke Wowhead. First the auction house, now Wowhead. What's going on? Wow, it's actually cooked. What else is broken right now? If Wowhead's down, it's probably whoever hosts Wowhead that's actually down. Doesn't seem to be anything particularly outrageously obvious that's dead. Maybe somebody at Team Wowhead pressed the wrong button. What's 502 bad gateway mean? I don't know. Where's my internet friends? Any 500 error is a server-side error. Well, in that case, then Wowhead's dead. Cooked. Can't catch a break with this expansion launch, can we? For the sake of curiosity, how would you make money off engineering right now? My assumption is that making parts might not be a terrible idea. The mount is also likely to be a random RNG gacha style potential way. Shuffling for mount components, I imagine, is a thing. Nothing of which I'm doing a lot of myself personally, but I'm quite sure there's money to be made there. God, what I really didn't contest with is just how flipping long it's going to take to craft all of these bolts, did I? By the time I've done this, the market's going to be dead. At least the price of these has been pretty cheap. Am I understanding this correctly? After 20 years, WoW has finally added a traders hall that EverQuest added a decade ago. I don't know what the traders hall in EverQuest looks like, but it's no different than, it's just part of the main city. No different to what it's ever been. People seemingly think that you can only use the auction house so much before it cuts you off. It happened to me and I logged onto an alt and it worked straight away. There is a throttle on the auction house. This is not something that's been spoke about anywhere near as much in Dragonflight. But when you are cancel scanning and you're cancel scanning frequently, there is a limit to how many items you can post and a limit to how many items you can cancel within a set period of time. You do have like an auction house quota. The thing is most people don't get anywhere near to it. It was most apparent back in the days when we were like aggressively scanning and cancel scanning like legendaries and stuff, for example, but what they've probably done now is up the throttle, yeah. meaning an individual person. Yeah, 60 items when cancelling, up to 100 items when posting. Is cancelling an auction uses more of your throttle's quota than posting something. But it all comes from the same pot. Each action you take on the auction house comes from your quota. Most people don't even know it exists though, or at least not anymore. I was buying armor to disenchant. I was getting throttled after buying the 5th item. Okay. I think the throttle's character based. Sometimes if I get throttled, I log over to a separate toon, post Xmog, then back to the main. No, it's an account wide thing. There are no throttles anymore. The dev wrote that. No, they're talking about something different. We're talking about something slightly different. That was like an additional level of throttling. A throttling to every action full stop was what they implemented a couple of days ago. It's a different throttle. Wowhead work yet? 504 error. CloudFront attempted to establish a connection with the origin. Oh, so it's probably CloudFront that's dead. CloudFront's dead again. That's probably what Wowhead's problem is, or at least it is for me. Could you explain what I did to get to 100 skill in tailoring? I'm at 70 and have like 5 items that require using the crafting order system. I don't know, and I can't remember what I did to get to 100. I probably bought a recipe and crafted something a lot. What that thing is, as I don't know. If I was to take a guess, I'd say it was probably the Dawn Thread lining. A lot of people have crafted bags as a way to get to 100. Bags take you to 100, but obviously they're also quite expensive. Or maybe they're not so much today, I don't know. Each profession has a few different ways you can get to 100. Some of them, your easiest path to success is probably via crafting orders, your cheapest path to success is probably crafting orders, because people should be giving you the materials. You're just pressing the button, in theory. More intermediate items are usually available to get to 100 as well. Have I got so much acuity? I shuffled professions like a crazy person for a few days. I've, yes, got a lot of acuity, but I have not made a lot of gold yet because of it. My guess is that the throttling is implemented as a token bucket that refills over time with a cap. Each action costs a varying amount, with cancels costing the most. Once throttles, you can cancel an item about every 5 seconds, or post an item about every 1 second. At least that's how I do it. I'm pretty convinced that is exactly how it works. They all come from the same quota, but cancelling just has a much higher cost. That's an action. 60 cancels or 100 posts is the numbers that tends to get thrown around for how much you can do before you hit the throttle. Do you have any idea how much acuity you get from shuffling from herbing and mining, for example? Shuffling is probably only something you should consider doing at this point if you are doing the more gathering stuff, right? mostly because the early advantage of shuffling's already gone. The markets in which you would aggressively shuffle to get into are already saturated with plenty of people that have already done it. So if you are going to rotate and you are going to shuffle your professions, I would pick the gathering ones and do those first, because they don't strictly cost you any gold. They cost you time, sure, but they don't cost you any actual gold. So then the worst thing that comes out of those is if you don't gain yourself much of an advantage in your crafting profession, the worst thing that happens is, oh well, you have a few materials to sell. Herbing and mining, the way you're basically hunting down the weekly knowledge points, which if there's like, what is it, 8 for each profession, I think. 8 times 5, 35. So there's about 70 artisan security obtainable by shuffling herbalism and mining. You have the weekly turn-in quest for both of those professions as well, which is 3 knowledge points, which would be 15 artisan security. So there's maybe another 30 in total for those two. It's about 100 artisan security, I reckon, by shuffling. Yeah, roughly 100 artisan security, I think, if you shuffle herbalism and mining. It seems largely server-based if to whether the auction house works or not. My bank characters are on the same account, and some work perfectly, some can't even post or search anything. Oh, interesting. Are patron orders locked behind a certain level with the profession? Sort of. The first, you need to get your profession to about level 60 to 70 before you start seeing most of your patron orders. But once you've done that for that profession once, if you have that same profession on your alts, I think that they get their patron orders almost instantly. Are verdant seeds worth the time of doing? You do realise all you do is you plant it and then loot the herb, right? It doesn't take any time at all. I mean, minus flying to the farm in Hallowfall. Yeah, absolutely, it's free herbs. More is more. 45 from gathering the tokens, about 15 from the weekly quests, so 60 plus 60 for both professions, but it takes about an hour. Yeah, I mean, if you shuffle through your gathering professions, it's like half a blue tool a week extra, something along those lines. Plus, obviously, the fact that, like I said, you're spending an hour picking up herbs. Herbing and mining's worth, even on a brand new fresh character, herbing and mining's worth 20k gold an hour right now. So you'll be making gold off doing it at the same time. But you, like I said, as any shuffling is your mileage may vary. Like, honestly, the amount that you'll have to spend, the amount of time it will take you, the amount of benefit you will see by doing it is... The benefit you'll see by shuffling is diminishing every single day. Every single day. Because most of the markets where shuffling into them was advantageous, people have already done it. And those markets are already saturated with many people able to do it. So even people who've shuffled are now dealing in the world where they're fighting for like margin on stuff. I found it really difficult talking about this shuffling business overly publicly because there's like, on one hand, I have to tell people the truth, which is that there is an advantage to be had, but I also have to tell people that most of that advantage is gone, and that if you're asking about how to do it now, the harsh reality is you are kind of too late, and it is something that you just shouldn't do. Which makes the whole process very difficult to talk about. Because obviously you don't want to give people bad news. One full-time shuffle is around 1,500 artisan security, but it'll probably take you half the day to do it. And an ungodly amount of gold, I'd imagine, if you haven't pre-bought or if you don't have any... like, in the first couple of days, it was about 2 million gold to do the shuffle, was its estimated cost. And yeah, you're right. It'll probably take you half a day to do it. It's a very time-consuming thing, cycling through, doing everything you need to do, especially if you haven't done it before. The first time you do anything, you're twice as slow because you're stumbling your way through it. The second or third time you do it, you'd probably do it much faster, but the first time it's going to be outrageously slow for you. So my general advice, and this advice only gets stronger every day, is if you haven't already done it, don't worry and don't bother. It's like, it's make sure you are keeping up with your patron orders. Make sure you're keeping up with your artisan security from the professions that you currently have. Maybe if you have the ability to, look at doing some of the gathering stuff, which will actually net you some bonus gold at the same time as doing it. But for everything else, I'd be hyper cautious. Hyper cautious. Old army dead? No, not in the slightest. I think disenchanting green and purple things is profitable, but blue things aren't. Is that true? Well, profit is based upon how much it costs you to get them. Shuffling into dust is almost the most if you're buying greens, blues and purples to shuffle them, you just got to do the maths, unfortunately. You got to do the maths. Let's there's no need to fly. There's no need to slam these in at a super cheap price. Let's throw them in at around. Let's throw them in at around there. Do we throw them in at around there, or do we take the extra by putting them in there? Those in there. Wow, have we got ghost auction problems already? It's now not showing the fact that I even posted those. Wow, we're starting to get auction house issues again. Huh, we're getting ghost auctions and issues again. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay. Okay. Does it show that I'd not tracking the stuff again? Oh, it's all crumbling. It's all crumbling. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. was fun while it lasted. Well, in that case, I'm not going to post the rest of these then, because if I can't even see them, then I can't be too cautious with what's going on. Alright. Well, I have a suspicion, a strong suspicion, you know, that might be our fun for today. If the auction house is about to crash and burn, I don't feel the need to be here when it happens. Yeah. What's the add-on or add-ons that show profit when crafting, and is it accurate? They're not, no, not really. I'm using both TSM and Auctionator and CraftSim. I'm using a bunch of them. But no, the accuracy of them is basically no. You've got to be doing the maths yourself. Don't rely on add-ons for your numbers right now. Right, well, considering the auction house is about to crash and burn by the looks of things, boys and girls, and I'm hungry, I'm going to go get me some food. Thank you all for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed. I know we spent an awful lot of time standing around prospecting and doing a few bits and pieces, but this is the world we live in as crafters. We are going to be getting our materials, producing a bunch of stuff, and hoping we can sell it for more. That's kind of the theory, right? This week's going to be quite fun, though. We're going to get a full reset. We're going to get a full opportunity to go out and get more knowledge points, more artisans acuity, cap out more of our professions. Over the next couple of days, I'm going to try and do... Whoa, that was a fast rocket that went in there. I'm going to try and do a few little videos going over each of the professions and what I've done with it. These will sort of be like status updates rather than like designated guides to certain professions. So if people are interested in those or are just generally intrigued, they'll be up on the YouTube channel. There's part of me that's very, very, very tempted to take tomorrow as an actual day off, because it's Tuesday. I can't imagine too much is going on a Tuesday, but of course Wednesday's going to be a big day because, like I said, it's going to be the reset. So if you don't see me tomorrow, that is why I might take it a bit chill for the next day, for tomorrow. We've streamed like every day for, you know, the last 2 weeks or something at this point, so I'm due taking a day to chill, so I might do that tomorrow, but we'll see. Come say hi on the Discord if you're not there already. Check out the YouTube videos, and yeah, enjoy the auction house for while it lasts. Have a good one. I'll see you later, boys and girls. Peace.